Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Speakeasy Podcast. It's still a surprise to me that this thing is on 8 episodes now. I am your host, Kayman Hernandez.
And I am Bill Voigt.
How you doing today, Bill?
Tired, but I'm good, buddy. I'm good.
I wish I could say the same. I really do wish I could say the same.
A little beat down Bobby today, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, so we got a few things to talk about today on this episode here. So we're going to move on down to the. Are we moving it to the or the digital underground?
Yeah,
now?
let's do digital.
All right, we're moving it down to the digital underground, where we're going to start talking about the Steam machine and why is it so important. Now, I can tell you why it's important, and it's just because of one word: Valve.
Well, of course, but I think it's important because you're not locked down to an ecosystem anymore. Because you can load other launchers on it.
Yeah, you can have like GOG
it's essentially a Linux computer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like my computer upstairs. And I think it's super important to not have to. And you don't have to pay for online services. That's also another great thing.
Yeah, you just have to have a Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
imagine that.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it, man. Some people are dogging on the power, the specs of it, but I think any normal person that wants a gaming console that has every game at their disposal, where you can use a keyboard and mouse to play old school games or games that don't utilize a typical controller pad, this is the machine for it.
Well, I think it's more that this thing will bring like computer-style stuff to the console market, right? Like Xbox tried to do that with like the movies and the TV show stuff, where they were like, oh, it's going to be, it's like a home console. You can use it to watch TV shows. But this is like Steam going, hey, we know that the PCs are like the market for gaming a lot of the time. And it's not to say that Sony or Xbox hasn't had good consoles, but this one's the thing for people that want to play PC games.
Well, Xbox has an identity crisis, right? And then Sony...
I feel like Sony's got an identity crisis.
No, Sony's got a greed problem. And we've talked about that. I guess
that's fair. That's okay.
The Steam machine, if you are looking for a console without a subscription fee, to have a pretty awesome library of games and the ability to be surrounded by a community of people where you can change your console into like a media center. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big thing.
It's so customizable.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be like the most customizable console on the market for sure.
Yep, and I think that's why it scares the big three so much.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely trying to like... I'm kind of... You mentioned it before on one of the episodes that they're going to, buy it all out, get them out of stock so that nobody can buy them or some shit like that. I made that joke,
but it sounds like Xbox is looking to do the same thing with Project Helix. Looks like you're gonna be able to download third-party digital storefronts like Steam and other things to your Xbox, and I think that's because Microsoft feels threatened by Linux, and I think they're trying to get that same kind of like, hey, come over to the Windows side. We do the same thing. I, on the other hand, don't really want to go with Windows anymore, so I'm just going to walk away for a while.
I mean, I don't think you were the only one with that either. I think Windows 11 really shot the foot of Microsoft for like a 50 caliber bullet sometimes.
They've been dying for a long time. It's just that Windows 11 really showed the rest of us, like that, because Windows 10 wasn't bad. No, it wasn't great, but
I remember like every new Windows, everybody would shit on it for a while, and then they would just start using it. Like I remember I would shit on Windows 10 and be like, oh, I don't want to do that because I love Windows 7, and then I moved over to Windows 10 and like I used it for however long it was, and I honestly didn't have too many problems with it. It was pretty solid for
Windows 10
experience.
was way better of a jump from 7, and I thought 7.2 was really good.
Yeah,
but.
For anybody that doesn't know, these are operating systems for your home-built computers. They're basically how you navigate your computer and use all of these things. Every operating system is built differently, for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah. I just like the Linux community because even guys like me that aren't savvy can go online and ask a simple question, and people literally have the code right there. Like, if you want this problem solved, go here and copy and paste this code to this, and you're good to go. It's one of the coolest things in the world.
Most helpful with each other. Well, I mean, they're all gamers. They just want to help. They want to help people play games and shit.
Well, the price of the Steam machine looks pretty cool, man. They're guesstimating. This is a pretty prominent leaker, is what I was seeing on Twitter.
Okay.
I don't want to name names but what the person said was between $600 and $650 and then it probably goes up from there depending on the storage. And I think that if it can stay around $750,
well, knowing it, like you could just buy the cheapest one and then up the storage yourself.
I don't think you can replace the storage on it.
No,
I have not heard any concrete evidence. I know that it does, like the Steam Deck, have a micro SD slot for more stuff. So I'm sure that'll be fine. I just haven't heard anybody say that you can replace it. Now, be it that the PlayStation 5 can replace an M.2 drive in its console. I would assume that Valve would have a similar thing for it.
Well, just because they've done it with the Steam Deck, like it's so easily accessible to just pull it apart, replace the drive, or replace whatever it is, and just have, that built on it or whatever. So I don't think it wouldn't be like that.
I hope so. I don't think they're going to close it down. I just haven't seen or read any concrete evidence of. Because I think
I have to go back and watch the Linus video because he broke it apart and showed the internals of the Steam machine. I just have to go and rewatch it because it's been a minute.
It'd be really cool if they came out with different, down the line, different motherboard things you can do where you can upgrade the GPU if you wanted to,
Be interesting to see how that would work. Because I mean, like
it'd have to be controlled and modular, like a.
Yeah, well, the thing is the machine itself is already built pretty compact because it's just a little box. Like it's way smaller than an Xbox is. So for them to be able to...
It's about the size of an Xbox, but cut in half, right?
Yeah, like the Xbox Series X, but literally just like slice the top part of it off, and it's not this fucking Twin Towers bullshit that you can have.
The Xbox isn't bad, dude. I like the Xbox.
No, I'm making fun of its design.
Yeah. The refrigerator?
Yeah.
So the new president of Xbox is actually turning things around quite a bit.
Yeah, are you meaning the CEO?
The person running Xbox division that took over for...
Yeah, I think it's the CEO of Xbox, not Microsoft.
Is it Asha something?
Yeah, some chick. She came from a background of like
AI
and stuff like that, but then she promised everybody that that's not her push, that's not her goal. So I mean, so far from what I've seen, she's been turning it around okay.
Yeah, so some people are up in arms about the Game Pass excluding Call of Duty, but Microsoft lost a shit ton of money on allowing it to be a Game Pass, whatever.
Yeah.
And, that's one of those games that I don't play it, but it prints money. People obviously still love it, and...
It's mostly a lot of competitive streamers.
Right. And so if I had to guess, I think it's a smart financial decision.
No, 100%.
Because people are going to pay for Call of Duty no matter what.
Especially now since like they've included Discord Nitro or Discord Nitro has Game Pass included into it, so... My Discord Nitro, I have Game Pass with it now. Which, I mean, it's like, that's cool, but I don't know.
I like the fact that she's removing the Microsoft branding from Xbox and calling it just Xbox. Microsoft's really weird with the way that they operate such an expensive or rich company. Like, obviously they're doing something right, be it they're super strict on their licensing for all their software and they just kind of choke people out, and that's how they make so much money. But like when it comes to the Xbox, like the original Xbox and 360, they were Xbox. Like you knew they were Xbox. And then when they went over to the television Xbox, which is the Xbox One, and then the new Xbox is unfortunately suffering from that guy killing their momentum. And I think some of the things that she's doing for Xbox, like putting gamers first and, lowering Game Pass for so for somebody like me, $22 a month for Ultimate Game Pass and I don't care about Call of Duty. I'd rather save the $7.99 for not play Call of Duty because if I decide to play Call of Duty, I can afford a $70 game.
Yeah,
if
you
I
make the choice.
If I'm renting everything else, if I'm one of those Xbox gamers where I want to rent my games for, I don't want to do that. That's why I have Steam. I have my Steam games and my GOG games. I don't want to own all my games. Or at least have a better, more trustworthy DRM than most. But I think it's cool that that people typically have a choice now with Xbox because 90% of the people that play Call of Duty are on PlayStation.
Really?
If you were to look up the percentage of people that play Call of Duty in general, it's mainly PlayStation people.
Interesting.
And it was on PlayStation first. Remember, it was like the World War Ones kind of came on to the PlayStation. That was the big draw. And then they weren't I don't know if they were exclusive, if they were on PC and PlayStation too.
You're talking about like the very early ones?
Yeah. Where they didn't have the multiplayer, but then when they had Modern Warfare and everything.
Yeah, because I feel like when I would think Call of Duty, I would think like Xbox 360 with like Modern Warfare, the game chats and shit like that. Not necessarily like PlayStation. Even knowing that
I was shocked when I found that most of the sales were on PlayStation because it seemed like such an Xbox thing. Because Microsoft, in the beginning, and they still do to this day, I think they have a better online service. Like, even though you pay for it, I think the friends community and
they've definitely got a better social aspect on their platform.
Yeah, and so I think it's almost like it's almost as good as PC, but you're paying
because it's just easy.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember when I used to own an Xbox Series S, the white one, the little one. It wasn't as powerful as like the X or whatever. It was pretty easy to get like my friends list up and shoot a message to somebody, read my messages, or set up a party.
That's the sad part about this current generation of consoles, like how expensive they are. We talked about it a million times, but there's not a lot of good third party games out there or first party games on either console.
They're kind of shutting it out a little bit in terms of like we talk about like indie games a lot, and like that's like a Steam thing 100%. We play a lot of indie games on Steam.
I don't think that a lot of all the games that I liked on my PlayStation, like games that were exclusive, they don't sell as well as third-party games. I don't think God of War sells as many copies as a third-party game. But I still love those kind of games. But the one thing that I have, the rumor mill that I have been hearing on Xbox is that they're no longer, or they're thinking about pivoting from everything's an Xbox to having exclusives only on Xbox. So essentially, like if you want to play Forza, whatever, it's going to be on Xbox. So you have to get Game Pass for your PC or Game Pass for.
Is Forza normally a yearly thing? Because like we had Forza 5 last year, and now we're at Forza 6, and it's coming out here soon.
It never used to be like Gran Turismo. Like it's generally you get one Gran Turismo per console, and like right now we still have Gran Turismo 7 on PS5. Like they've added a bunch of stuff to it, but it's basically just one game.
Never even played any Gran Turismo games.
Oh, dude, I spent so much time on Gran Turismo 2.
I know that the movie's also really good too.
I love the movie
with Brad Pitt.
No, that's
F1. that's Formula One.
Yeah, F1.
It's got the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. What's his name?
Adrian Baudu. Is that his name?
I don't remember. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, he was the main general in the last one.
No, the oh my god,
I know I'm right.
I feel like I'm old right now. He was the young guy, the dude that played Legolas. He was in Gran Turismo.
You talking about Orlando Bloom?
Yeah,
he was in that, but it was also two other characters. The
same guy that you're talking about was in it as well.
Yeah, Javier Bardem. He was also in. He was the guy that.
And David Harbour
he was in
F1.
Too. He's in F1. God, I'm retarded.
Yeah, hey man, you're doing what I just did. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, no. Orlando Bloom, and I also forgot that David Harbour was also in it too.
Yeah, he was the crew chief.
Yeah. I need to watch that movie. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I haven't.
What, Gran Turismo?
Yeah, I haven't taken the time to actually
Apparently,
go. Wasn't it also not a theatrical release? It was a streaming release.
No, it came out for theaters. It's actually based on a true story.
Yeah.
Of gamers that played the game so much they became professional gamers, and they actually became real drivers. Which is crazy.
Which is so cool. That's such a cool concept.
It's actually. I mean, some of it is like. If you deep dive the history, like a lot of it's kind of sped up from the actual history.
Oh yeah. Well, that's Hollywood.
Yeah. But it still gets the point across. Like I still thought it was a good movie overall.
That's good. Yeah, I have to watch it eventually. It was on my list. I just haven't taken the.
I was just surprised that we're talking about that on the gaming thing because we're just talking about racing games, and which is funny because you don't expect Gran Turismo to be a good movie. Like it's a racing simulator.
Well, the trailer didn't help it at all. I feel like the trailer made it look like one of those cheap movie knockoffs for sure. Yeah. But then everybody was talking about it when it came out, and they were like, "Dude,
we streamed it, and we were both like, this is awesome." But we also, my wife and I both love racing movies like Ford versus Ferrari, Rush with Chris Hemsworth, and then Gran Turismo, and then we loved F1. Still, my favorite is either F1 or Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I think we watched Ford versus Ferrari a little bit. That's got Christian Bale in it, doesn't it?
Awesome. Yeah. He's the reason to watch it.
Yeah, well, he's also just a good actor as well. We're talking about movies right now.
Yeah. Well, the gaming section we're talking about Gran Turismo
relates, but yeah, for sure. No, I mean, Xbox is they've been doing. I feel like, especially since the new CEO came in, like. What was the old CEO? What was his name?
Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
Love Phil Spencer.
Everybody has good experiences with Phil Spencer. He didn't do a terrible job.
Don Matrick, the guy before that was turning the Xbox into a basically a DirecTV that played video games.
Yeah,
he was so detached. Like, I hate to say this, but when you're going to add a new feature into anything, like any genre of entertainment, okay, let's use Xbox. They're gamers. Okay, that's cool. Add the feature, but don't make it the main show.
Right.
Gamers want to see what games are coming out, which, the new Halo or, the next Call of Duty or whatever's popular on that particular console. If you're going to add Connect, where it wants you to like, oh, you want to watch TV? That's a great feature, but it's so much better to underplay that stuff. And all they did was talk about that when that came out was TV.
Yeah, because that was his big push was being TV.
People were like, we're here for the games.
It's a gaming console. You're at E3, not fucking the Globe Awards, whatever, Golden Globe.
Are we here for the shareholders or for the gamers? And then that's when PlayStation, like in 2013, they came
were kicking ass.
And they came out for $400 instead of $500. And then they made that super funny joke where it's like, how to trade games on PlayStation. He hands the game to the other guy and they go,
well, yeah, because they limited. I remember they wouldn't allow you to give your friends a copy of a game. Wow, that was so wild.
Yeah, but think about that, though. That's what they're doing now for PlayStation.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how it switched, isn't it?
Yeah, and now PlayStation's the stupid one.
Yeah.
And now Xbox is going to be the rebel where they sell their next console for, well, it's still going to be expensive. I think the
do you think that they're going to try to do really like push for a new console, or are they just going to kind of do...
It's already being made.
Okay.
It's called Project Helix. Now, people are saying that this is going to be, and they've said it before, and Microsoft themselves has said it, it's a premium gaming console. So when they use those
extra words,
those extra words like premium, I'm thinking $1,200, which means, are they going to rely on the Xbox app to play anywhere, like on your Steam machine or on, to play your Xbox anywhere, or are they going to make another console to go along with for the people that don't want to spend all that money? Because that's kind of that's what people are speculating with the new PlayStation 6 is the handheld will be $600, but the PlayStation 6 will be $900, and then there'll be a Pro for $1,100.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
sounds so gay.
Yeah, it's just you're just outpricing the market. I really think that if these come out in 2028, and we as consumers, the people with power, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to sound conceited or like some kind of like, kill the rich, but I don't like the overall like blatant greed with this. If we turn our backs for like less than a fiscal year, they're going to bend the knee to us. The problem is that, like you said, we've said before, the whales that can purchase whatever they want. I mean, it's great that you can purchase whatever you want, but realize that because you didn't get all that money because you were spending it all. You as a whale made all that hard-earned money by being a successful business person or a rich mogul of something.
I don't even think actually most of the whales are like billionaires or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it's just people that
like upper middle class.
Yeah, they literally just dedicate all of their money to spending it on like one thing.
I just think that we need to be smarter with it. I think that people out there that have the money really need to weigh the option of, do you want the new shiny thing? And they're going to, and it's like, of course, if you're used to doing that, the new iPhone, the new Android phone, whatever, we're conditioned to like the new thing. But if it was me, if you had the Steam machine that's less powerful than a PS6 and an Xbox Helix, but it's $650 and I know it's going to last me 10 years, I'm going to use that over the other ones because the gaming market is so saturated with AAA games that cost $300 million that are live service. And then you got these 12-man crews of these small, dedicated developers that are going to make these games that work on all these machines.
Yeah.
And they're going to look decent. I mean, some of these games are crazy looking.
It's not even really necessarily that I lost my train of thought. You were literally saying it and I lost my train of thought. It's basically in the terms of like these games are getting so ridiculous that like, to me, this goes on to a small topic that I'm going to try to bring up here, is like they all feel the same. Like, you ever noticed how like a lot of these new games, AAA games specifically, like Sony Xbox games, they all look the same because not only one are they all utilizing Unreal Engine, and trying to do that push, which doesn't help. And then, a lot of these things are just trying to go for like that hyper realistic. It almost feels like they're still keeping a mentality of like this needs to be a TV show.
Yeah.
Like I feel like especially
it's
with
like Groundhog's Day.
Think like God of War Ragnarok. Like you could definitely just say that is a TV show. One episode, I log in one day and I'm doing this, and that's an episode. Yeah. It just feels like.
Well, I love God of War Ragnarok, but it is like episodic. It shouldn't have been like $70.
I feel like God of War 2018. And this might just be because I haven't played all the way through God of War Ragnarok, is a way better game in terms of just how complete that narrative felt. Like, going through it all, playing through it, felt like I was on a classic adventure, And it's not to say that the old God of Wars or Ragnarok doesn't have that, because they probably do. I know that the original God of Wars felt more...
There are some...
tight, I guess I'd say.
They are definitely... The first three are definitely tighter.
Yeah.
And they're very linear, and they're very awesome. Ragnarok has some spots in it where you can kind of open world travel, like you have more.
Yeah.
And you do get caught up in the I 100% of that game, which I rarely never do. Both the God of Wars, the newer ones, I 100%.
I prefer 2018 over Ragnarok.
I would say, if you haven't played it all the way through, there are some killer scenes in that.
Sure.
There are moments that outclass the first one in a lot of ways.
In terms of story or just like gameplay moments?
Gameplay and story. There are some really killer moments in that game where I just like there's moments with Atreus where I was like trying not to like cry. And there was moments where I was like I'd beat a badass boss and I'd stand up and like flex, and it was such a rush.
Maybe one of these years or something we should like dedicate time where I come over like once a week, like we do this with this podcast, and we just play an hour, 2 hours of it together, just kind of hang out, talk, because that's what I was doing with a buddy of mine, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Let's go with we talked about it a little bit with like the gamer's mindset. So I guess the big question is the gamer's mindset going from brand loyalty to platform loyalty? Is that the shift that we're kind of thinking?
I think that's the shift that the corporates want us on. And I think it is the next fanboy rush. But I will interrupt this segment to say that we are smoking the S84.
Oh yeah, we totally forgot
the S84
cigars. Everybody,
yeah. The cigars today are the S84 Metallica Black and Shade of Black,
and then the other ones we have two today. For each. Yeah, I forgot my cigar, so I totally didn't even.
Yeah, you're a mess today.
It's the same thing as we've smoked a few episodes before in the prior and shit like that. It's just ones that we really, really enjoy. Yeah.
So the console mindset, I think there's going to be a couple. I think it's going to be weird because with Xbox being exclusive with some of their new titles coming out and Sony doing the same thing and Nintendo always being that way, I think that it's going to be...
Well, what is the next... titles for both? I know that Gears of War E-Day is the next one for Xbox. Well, because I don't think Halo's got a new game coming out.
PlayStation doesn't have anything I could see coming out. I mean, I haven't been on in a while, but
I know that they have God of War remakes, the 1, 2, and 3, which is I'm very skeptical and scared to see what that's going to look like.
But when it comes to, you're always going to have fanboys everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to not like something.
I'm rooting for everyone to win because we all win when everybody does something. But I think that the gamers are picking their platforms, right? But I think that the console companies are going to try to go back to the early 2000s consoles where you had the PlayStation, Xbox Wars, and then Nintendo was kind of like
yeah, because it does kind of feel like they were trying to make it more inclusive. Oh goodness me. They were trying to make it more inclusive by putting games on each console, but yeah, no, I think I agree.
Yeah, I think the fanboys, people that are really loyal to the consoles, this has been a weird shift for all of us because I was a Sony first out of the consoles, and then my PC was like my rogue machine that did all the crazy stuff. And,
yeah, because PC doesn't care what the fuck it is.
And with Steam getting into the console market and allowing people like you and me to game on a TV, that isn't a console that says Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. It says Valve, and we can do whatever we want with it. That's going to be where the platform shift will happen.
So,
and I think that's why people are the gatekeepers. And I hate using that term.
It's true, though.
But the gatekeepers like Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft that are basically the big three are scared because it's a change in the season with this machine, even if it doesn't outsell, because that's the first thing that everybody goes to when the Valve Steam Deck only sold 5 million copies, but the Nintendo Switch sold this many.
It can't outsell. Just we've already been proving this with the Steam controllers, just how many consoles they've been able to make, but it will outperform in terms of just how accessible and fun it's going to be.
Well, that's something that they've always had. But like I said, like the dumb thing about fanboyism is, and I did it too, so this is not something that's indifferent, is you'll look for every spec and every sales chart to razz the other side.
Yeah.
And rather than just be happy with what the console you chose and just play it, right? And for me, it was like there was no reason for me to keep my Xboxes anymore because I was able to get on my PC and play them. Nintendo was like the bonus privilege, like I was the whale.
Yeah.
Like I bought the big console, either PlayStation or Xbox, right? So I bought a PlayStation, and then if I felt froggy, I'd go buy a Nintendo because I didn't look at them as one of the heavy hitters. They were just there. Now Nintendo obviously is they're huge, and I'm not going to lie and not make anything up.
Are they the biggest console company?
You mean for sales?
Just in general, because I
don't think so.
I feel like Nintendo is one of those things where everybody knows Nintendo.
Well,
right?
I think they're definitely the most recognizable, right next to PlayStation. Now, like 20 years ago, it was absolutely Nintendo.
Yeah, because of the Wii and stuff.
Well, no. I'm talking about like Nintendo could sell a rock and people would buy it because they were the kings of the console market. They literally came in when Atari was big and ruined the whole market. The whole gaming industry in the 80s crashed, and then Nintendo came out, and then Nintendo came out with Super Nintendo, and then Nintendo 64. But Sony came out with the PlayStation 1 and the 2.
Yeah,
and they were way more like we'll put anything on it.
I think Nintendo back in the day too was very experimental with all of their consoles. Like they did they went NES, then NES or SNES, and then they went to
just say
64.
Nintendo. I hate that.
Huh?
Just say Super Nintendo. I hate that shit. Yes, but they weren't more experimental.
Well, I say that
everybody wanted to put their games on there
because then they did GBA. And then they did the Game Boy Advance.
Let me just stop you for 1 second.
Okay.
And I'm using my old man powers. Nintendo was the only place to play after Sega started to trickle down. And Sega was the one that was willing to experiment and allow crazy shit on their console without being crazy with the licensing. Nintendo had a strict licensing. I don't know if you remember this, but regular Nintendo had the gray cartridges, right? Then you have some weird ones, like black ones that were shaped weird. And these were people that saw around their legal patent system and could put it on their system, and still and they still they charged $90 to $100 for some of these games in the 80s. I mean, that's big time. And so Nintendo had a lot stricter quality of seal, approval. They weren't nearly ready or willing to let anybody just play on their console. Nintendo was still just as strict as they were back in the day. It was a lot easier for them to be that way. The difference is that because the Super Nintendo sold so well, people would jump through the hoops. These people would want to produce their games and jump through the hoops.
Well, I'm mostly talking about just in hardware, not necessarily games. Like, I'm talking about how
I think Nintendo has been excellent. Like, I don't normally defend Nintendo, but I think Nintendo's done an excellent job of being the only console manufacturer that's tried something new every generation.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. So then now that I understand what you're saying, I won't go on the old man rant. No more old pulling back.
I mean, because you're right. They were always the strictest on their own platform.
And to be fair, in the past, they did their seal of approval actually meant better quality games.
Yeah.
And that was fine for the gamers. But you're right. I think that. So to me, right now we're at a weird. You know what? A while back you had said something to me that everything kind of goes in a circle. Super Nintendo or Nintendo to Super Nintendo. It was basically a more powerful Super Nintendo.
It's like a Switch 1 to Switch 2.
Yes, and I think that Nintendo experimented with the 64, the GameCube, and the Wii, and then the Wii
And
U
then
was,
all of
and
their
the Wii U was
handhelds.
like those two were the Wii U was. Or the Wii was really, really popular because anybody could play it because we already talked about how it was like the accessible console for any casual gamer.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went back to let's make games for games and have like this like portable console that could be a console, you know, and then somebody could log on their TV and watch a show and they could still play their games on that.
Yeah.
And that was like the precursor to the Switch, right? And the Switch comes out and it's extremely successful. So it's like you got the Wii one, then the bomb, and then the Switch is like incredibly successful, and I think that the Wii, the Switch 2 had the potential to be successful, but they've just stepped on their. They aren't as successful as they could have been. I don't.
Do you think that it's the same? Like we talked about the Circle. Do you think it's about the same in terms of like the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo?
No, because in my opinion, there were game series on the Nintendo that okay, this is a personal perspective.
So it's about the games in this term, where the games felt. Like every game for the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo felt special, and it had something crazy.
There was a significant difference between playing the original Metroid to playing Super Metroid.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
Okay, there was a significant difference between playing Castlevania and then Super Castlevania. Or playing Contra, then Super Contra.
You know, I actually prefer Castlevania over Super Castlevania.
No, that is...
I do.
Well, some people are wrong. But I liked... When the Super Nintendo came out, it was exactly what it said. It was the Super Nintendo. So they brought a lot of those games rehashed over. So this remake thing that we've always been talking about, or remasters, they've been doing it for
reboots.
Yeah, they've been. I mean, Super Metroid is just a reboot of Metroid 1. Okay, it's slightly different, but the same. And nobody cared because the graphics were crazy, awesome.
The gameplay,
and it was still the same great game.
So good,
right? You know they upped the price on the Switch 2, right? It's now gone up to $500, which is the smallest price hike.
There's only one game that I want to buy and play for the Switch 2, and that's Tomodachi Life, because I've been seeing a bunch of people playing it lately. But like, I do not want to jump down the rabbit hole and spend that much money for that. I already spent $500 on a console, and that was a PlayStation 5 6 years ago. You know, I don't want to push and get a Switch 2 because I have all of the games that I've wanted. You know, Metroid Dread being the biggest one because I'm a huge Metroid fan, and I was waiting for like 13 plus years to get the next mainline 2D Metroid game, and I got it. You know, I'm happy with what I have.
Okay.
So I mean, like that. You know, Switch 2, as much as it might be or is a huge improvement to the Switch 1, I can still play a good chunk of Switch 1 or Switch 2 games on my Switch 1, but I don't have many that I want.
I think the issue I have with the Switch is, it's lumped in with the PS5 and the Xbox.
People compare it too much.
Well, no, it's. I mean, listen, it's the big three, right? And Nintendo isn't playing the same game as everybody else. I mean, yes, they have the $500 console.
Well, their big contenders are way different than PlayStation's,
and they have their paid online services. That's where the commonality ends. Nintendo is a handheld. And then you can dock it and get a little more horsepower out of it, but it's still not as powerful as the two other consoles.
Right.
And, you know, that's where the developers come in. And that's my biggest gripe with all this whole generation. And even in the previous generation, the PS4 and not the Switch, but the Xbox is stop trying to run with the PC guys. You'll never compete with people that can spend all their money on a console or on a machine that could play state-of-the-art graphics, and when somebody can cater to that and your mind is blown, doesn't mean the game's good, but it just shows where the next generation of games are going to go.
It's like all of those videos of Cyberpunk where they have that reshade and shit like that makes it look so close to reality. That can't run on a PlayStation.
Right.
That only can run on a PC.
The thing that people are missing is the original... What the developers and what we're doing nowadays is what the gamers would overlook if they got it. Was the Super Nintendo wasn't trying to be the current PC at the time. It was its own entity. And it had its own great games that we can still reminisce right now about it. And go back and play them right now and have that same smile on our face. I can go back and play my Sega Genesis and be like, my God.
I play Super Metroid like every year. And like every time I play it, I have
what I'm getting at is these console makers shouldn't try to be porting these watered down junk versions of games that are obviously out of their league. I think that I really believe that they should focus on making the best quality games they can make for the power of their console and show you what older hardware that's masked this new hardware can actually do. You know,
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Team Cherry with Hollow Knight. You know, both of those Hollow Knight games, they're pretty. They're not like graphically intense. You know, like a lot of indie games we talk about, right?
I think that game is a perfect example of
game first.
A perfect. It's not perfect, but it's very pretty. The graphics are good. They are really, really good. They are state of the art in the respect of how it's drawn and how it's animated. It may not be using ray tracing or anything junk like that, but as a game, as a platformer, it looks insane.
Yeah.
And that's what gamers want. That's why that $24 game or that $14 game sold a bunch of copies. Because
so crazy that they released it for $20.
Yeah, it's because they keep shoving in people's faces that games can be sold for cheaper and they could still do it the old-fashioned way, which is you make a good product, people will buy it. And we all know who said that. But what I'm getting at is that even at $20, a game sold a shit ton of copies, of digital copies, or even physical.
I think it was like 5 million like the first week or something like that. It was some crazy number.
Right. So what do we remember about being our favorite games to play on consoles?
So, I mean, I think I've mentioned it before, but I played...
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Before we get... Okay, we're talking about consoles. You grew up with your dad, big PC guy. What was the first console that you ever actually played, was introduced to? Like, for real. Like, not try to sound cool.
Nintendo DS.
Okay, which was probably common for the time that you were old enough to play.
Yeah, I had like 3 of them because I kept breaking them and losing them. And then on the third one, my dad was like, we're not buying you anymore.
I miss those days.
When you would just be excited for
when you
games?
could play a Game Boy... I thought the Game Boy was awesome, right?
Game Boy is fucking rad.
And I miss when the Game Boy was powerful enough to be like basically a portable Super Nintendo. Yeah, I was done. It didn't have to go any further in graphics to me because I actually really liked the art style of Super Nintendo, the
16-bit
of the way the Super Nintendo did it, because the Super Nintendo was a lot more powerful.
Sprite scaling and shit like that.
It was a lot more powerful than a Genesis. Like I think a Genesis was something like 64 million
but the Genesis
colors.
had really good games though.
It also had a really fast processor, but it wasn't as good at like colors. Like when you played a game on like a Mortal Kombat, it looked a little bit more like the arcade than the Super Nintendo did. But the Super Nintendo had all the colors. It had way more of a color production, whatever you call it. I don't know what you would call that technology, but it could show more colors on screen.
Typically, it's just under the color palette based on the game itself.
So the Genesis was like 64 or 64 million. I can't remember.
I think they were definitely, because Super Nintendo was 64-bit, so they both would have been 64.
No, 16-bit. No.
Or 16-bit, yeah, sorry, 16-bit.
They were both 16-bit graphics.
Yeah.
But the color palette was like 64, either 64 colors, and the Super Nintendo was like 256 colors. Is what it was able to produce.
I see what you're saying.
So you can combo a lot more, and games could look a lot more vibrant and intense.
Yeah.
But the Genesis was definitely the console that was...
Which is so weird, because I feel like Sonic had like some of the most...
It was
color range.
It had color range, but it was very basic colors: blue, greens, browns.
Yeah, but
it was done.
I guess that just goes to show how good of game designers with the Sonic teams were back in that time, because like those games still look fucking beautiful, just in terms of the art style of it for sure.
I mean, some of my favorite games were on Genesis.
Yeah, you've mentioned a lot. Yeah,
Eternal Champions, and to me, that was one of the best fighting games of all time. If you ever got the opportunity to play a ROM version of that, I would definitely suggest Eternal Champions. It's one of the
Sega
coolest.
doesn't care. I can probably find one real easy.
Yeah, they had some killer games on the Genesis, like the original Jurassic Park, the X-Men games were killer on the Genesis.
Which one did Capcom versus Marvel go on? Was it
PlayStation?
It was just PlayStation?
No, but it came out in that era. It was out in the arcades. That was back when arcades were a thing, where you went to the
Was
arcades.
that more of an arcade game than it was?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, that game, when it was out in the arcade, it was dumbed down for the consoles.
That's crazy.
Because they were...
The arcades built it specifically for that.
Yeah. There was a console that I always wanted to buy, but I could never afford it. And it was the Neo Geo. Because the Neo Geo was like $600 in the early 90s, and the games were $200 a piece.
Sheesh.
But they were exact replicas of the arcades. Like you bought Samurai Showdown or you bought Art of Fighters, and you grabbed this gigantic cartridge like the size of a toaster. You popped that thing in, it was legit the one at the arcade. And that was a big deal back then.
That's interesting. I never knew that.
Oh, and the reason why I bring it up is because they're re-releasing it.
The Neo Geo?
You buy it for $500, and it comes with like 30 cartridge games in this huge box. You know how fast I want to put myself on the reservation? It comes with the original controllers. They're wired.
That would be really fun. I would totally play that shit. I think about it because like I go to a lot of arcades my time now, and I prefer the old school style arcades rather than like Dave and Buster's or Round One. And that's not to say that I don't like Round One. Round One has some fun shit. They got a lot of like Japanese and
at least they're bringing fun to people that want to play games. But yeah, the classic like 8-bit arcade. And stuff.
Yeah. I was just gonna say there's one up here that I love to go to, which is called 8-bit Arcade down specifically in Renton.
Yep,
and
it's cool.
It's just because I love the pinball machines. I love the old school arcade machines. I love just going in there, putting in $20-$40 and having the best for 3 hours of my life.
We were talking about Capcom being basically the shining knight of 2026.
Yeah.
In the 90s, they were the rulers of the arcade.
Oh, for sure.
They had Alien vs. Predator beat 'em up, which is one of the greatest games of all time. I dropped hundreds of dollars that game. There was Knights of the Round Table, which is you play as King Arthur in Knights of the Round, and you level up, and it's a beat 'em up, and it's so
like a
cool.
Gauntlet style.
No, like a side scroller beat 'em up. Gauntlet is a isometric
Top down.
Diablo.
Yeah.
I'm talking like Streets of Rage, Final Fight. Imagine those games. You walk down a street, you beat guys up,
and then you just beat.
Yeah. So that they were the ultimate kings of that kind of game series. They had 50 games that were like that. And you go to the arcades and just be mashing buttons, and they had like I said, Knights of the Round Table. They had Might and Magic. They had Dungeons and Dragons. I beat 'em up with Dungeons and Dragons. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
You couldn't get them on the consoles because why? Because they couldn't play them. And that's why I thought it was so cool is that the exclusivity.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hashtag can't speak.
You're good.
The word was in the machines. So you go to the arcades to play these cool like state-of-the-art graphics because there was literally instead of being a console where you download all your stuff or a PC where you download like the game, these big console things
were built into it.
They were that game. That was it.
Yeah.
And then you had the consoles that had, if they could play them, they would have a lowered version of them, or they had a ton of original games that were made specifically for that console.
I always played
and cared to the power of it.
I always loved playing those isometric like jet games where they're the bullet hells and shit like that. I personally love playing those games a lot.
You mean like the jets in front of you?
Yeah. There's a ton of different ones,
dude. Afterburner is the only one, and that was Sega. That was killer. And then they also had one called Space Harrier. You remember that game?
Yeah.
You were a dude flying.
There's one that's called like Astral or something like that. It's like something with an A that they had at 8-bit Arcade. I put like half of my coins into that one because I would just die and then I'd put in 2 more coins and then I'd fucking go back at it and shit like that. No, I love old school arcade machines for sure.
Did you ever get an opportunity as a young man to play the Sega Saturn? Mm-mm. So the Sega Saturn was
we had, so we'll kind of tie this back in. We had the Xbox and then we had the PlayStation 2.
Hold on. You're talking about the Xbox that your dad had modded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we had the Xbox, and then we had the PlayStation 2, and then we had the Xbox 360, and then we bought 4 of them sons of bitches because they all red ring of death on us.
Yep.
And then my dad gave up and then bought 1 PlayStation 3 for the family, and then we had that thing for like 7 years. Had to get a new one. And then I have that new one that we still used. And then we had a few other PlayStation 3s because Dad wanted one for his own room and shit like that. And then ever since then, other than like Nintendos, because I had a GBA, a DS. We never had like a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or anything. Yeah. I think that was because that's where my dad played it at his mom's, my grandma's, because she has all of those consoles.
Yep. Your mom's a rock star with all that stuff.
My mom?
No, your grandma.
Oh yeah. No, she collects consoles like that, and she's actually. It's really funny too because like they have a bunch of like collector's stuff for PlayStation 4s and shit like that.
I was big into the PS3 and the PlayStation 4 collectibles as well.
I think I wanted the Gears of War one because when you would turn it on, it would do the weirdo. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I played the fuck out of the PlayStation 3. I put so much time playing PlayStation 3
that was kind of like your first introduction to PlayStation was the 3?
I played a lot of the 2 because I remember playing Shadow of the Colossus on 2. I remember we played like Crash Bandicoot and stuff on 2, but once we moved to PlayStation 3 cuz like I barely remember playing Xbox other than playing like Gears of War with like you or Dad or like my sisters or something. I don't really remember it that much. I just remember when we had the PlayStation and I played so many games on that thing.
I believe that PlayStation 1 to 3 were like the pinnacle years of PlayStation.
I agree.
For gaming.
Oh, no, I agree. 100%.
Because they came out with hit after hit.
I think the era between 2000 and 2009 with both Xbox and PlayStation 3 is when gaming was in its golden age.
Yeah,
like 100%.
For the consoles back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And the newer consoles. I mean, the PS4 was good, but it wasn't as good as PS3 when it comes to like the catalog of games. Mm-hmm. And that's probably one reason.
Well, a lot of them were ported over too.
Yeah, well, that's one reason why you probably can't remember how many games because there were so many you were playing.
Well, I didn't have a PlayStation 4. We didn't get one.
No, 3.
Oh,
that's
sorry.
why you can't remember all the games because there were so many of them.
Yeah.
As on PlayStation 4, we can remember like, like God of War.
I don't know. I could name off like 5 right now.
Okay.
Army of 240. Well, we'll just go in franchise.
PS3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I can name all of the ones from the PlayStation 3, like Army of 2, Little Big Planet, Warhawk and Starhawk. We had fucking Crash Bandicoot. I had Crash of the Titans and shit like that. We had Crash Tag Team Racings and shit like that. And then we had God of War 1, 2, and 3. I played all of those games like multiple times.
I remember jamming out to God of War 2 with your dad. He had a PS2 in his living room.
That game is great.
And we used to drink vodka and Sprite and get tuned up. and I'd be the commentator while he just jammed out in games. It was really fun.
That's fun.
Some of my favorite games came out on the PlayStation and Super Nintendo and Genesis. I mean, they just had so many good games. And playing them on PC was rougher back then.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I remember getting games on a crappy computer, putting the little floppy disk in, and it just took forever for things to work. I was like, dude, this is lame, you know?
Yeah.
But consoles were definitely that breach, but PCs have obviously, in 30
Evolved
years,
so
have come
fast.
up. Yeah, it's really cool. I think my favorite series of games is got to be the Super Nintendo era, even though I absolutely love PlayStation because it has some really cool games.
Well, you also are a little older, so you have a lot more of those.
I definitely have the opportunity and privilege to grow up with the consoles.
Your nostalgia berries are different than mine.
Yes.
You know, because mine is PlayStation, Xbox 360.
They're the same. It's just different years.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, I don't know. I went through a whole phase, I want to say back in like 2014. I remember when I was like 14 to like 17 or something like that. I played nothing but old school Nintendo games on emulators and shit. And I would spend hours just scrolling through these random games.
I think that's the reason why you like putting everything on hard because it brings you back to the Nintendo days when everything was on hard.
It's totally possible. I mean, I say like Castlevania 1 is my favorite Castlevania, and that game is brutal.
Well,
I felt like when I was playing...
The reason why 4 is my favorite is because 4 is a retelling of 1. It just looks way prettier. And the soundtrack. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
One of the best soundtracks. That series, to me, has kind of died out when they went 3D a little bit with the Lord of Shadows on PS3.
What's the newest one?
I don't think they have a new one since Lord of Shadows 2.
Interesting. I just remember playing the Metroidvania one where you're playing as the dude with the white and blue coat and you're running around. It was on the DS and the GBA.
Yeah, but those were classic style. Those were classic style Castlevanias, like 2D style playing games.
Yeah, they were 2D, but they were open. Like they were you would go back to this one area, collect this reward.
Actually, that's how after Castlevania 2, they were all like that. Like they all like
Castlevania 2 is so interesting.
Castlevania 1 was very linear. You went here, beat the levels.
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, like Metroid, you would find something.
That's why they call it Metroidvania.
Yeah, and that's why it used to drive me nuts because Castlevania gave you everything you needed as you wandered.
Yeah.
Whereas Metroid was like, oh, you want that over there?
You got to go find it.
Yeah, you got to get the thing to get there.
Yeah.
And you're shaking your fist of fury. But when they released Castlevania,
well, I think Metroid was more about exploration, while like Castlevania was about, at least back
gameplay, like just getting to a story. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not that Metroid doesn't have good gameplay, because it does, especially later
Metroid
on.
is excellent.
It's just that they're two different styles of shit. Yeah, I mean, like I love Metroid. That's like my favorite, one of my top 5 favorite games. Franchises of all time.
It's one of the all-time. Even if I'm not a huge fan, it is the quintessential platformer. I mean, it is such a good platformer. Like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I wouldn't go back and play it and appreciate it now. I should go back and play them because I know they're great games. But I just like, we talked about it, you know, I like the horror aspect of Castlevania.
Yeah, and I like sci-fi horror a lot.
Yeah. And they're both like to argue it's all preference because both games are absolute 10s when it comes to difficulty, graphics of the era, gameplay,
I think Super Nintendo or Super Metroid is way better of a game than original Metroid is. Like I would say Castlevania is more of a 10 out of 10 compared to Metroid 1. I think Metroid 1's probably more like an 8 just because it had a lot of things that were...
It was the first one.
Yeah. But it had a lot of things that were way bad.
There was no other game like it.
Yeah.
And Castlevania came out shortly after. But when Castlevania shifted over to Symphony of the Night, which is the greatest Castlevania game of all time, with Alucard, we had level...
He's the one with the black and the white hair.
It's Dracula's son.
I know who he is.
Yeah.
But like on the character model.
Yeah, he was the one that it came out on PS1, and it was hands down, in my personal opinion, Symphony of the Night is the greatest Metroidvania game of all time. It beats every Metroid. It beats every Castlevania. It was
a lot of people say that about Hollow Knight 1.
Well, I've never played it. It looks awesome.
I want to play it more. I think I just need to put it on my Steam Deck and take some time and fucking. That's what I'm gonna do. April is I'm gonna spend my time playing the Hollow Knight games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I
would like to get a copy of Symphony of the Night on the Steam Deck.
Oh, that'll be easy.
Oh no, I know.
That'll be so easy. Okay, so I have a question, and this is kind of a really big question. So. Is it still possible to make new games accessible for the consoles with technology getting stronger? Bigger example is like we talk about Unreal Engine pushing for a lot of unoptimization due to bad parameters, right?
So the answer is yes. The question is, will they? And here's what I'm saying is we just spent 15 minutes reminiscing about all the great games. Mm-hmm. Those games were made with their own engines, with the console in mind it was building it for. Mm-hmm. So the game typically ran great if it was programmed.
Well, yeah, because it was set to
the problem
run that way.
We have right now is everybody's lazy with getting their hands on the new technology. Unreal Engine and not having their own engines. That's probably one of the key reasons why you and I, for the last 3 or 4 episodes, have been giving Capcom so many props for Resident Evil because they made their own engine and it runs on every single
and
console.
It's also the counteracting it a bit. It is still the same engine, but like every iteration for every new game, they do something to make it run better.
But it's their engine.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at is I run Resident Evil 9 on my Steam Deck with 40 frames a second. Yeah. It doesn't have all the fidelity per se as the consoles and or the PC, but it looks.
And it's honestly still a really
fucking
pretty
game. But it looks good on that, and that is a sign that answers your question right there. If Unreal Engine is junk, and it is pushing these new consoles out, and these consoles have even though they're running like essentially equivalent to a 2080. If they were just let developers make games for that console, because the Xbox and the PlayStation are essentially the same, so you have 2 potential consoles that can make tons of money on these great games, and you could do that with the Switch. The Switch isn't that much so much more less powerful than the other two, where you could make games that could run on the PS5, the Xbox, and run on the Switch, and have these great third-party games, but they're pushing these overbloated, unoptimized engine of Unreal and trying to get all this ray tracing. And it's making games run at 30 frames a second.
Well, the ray tracing part isn't even just Unreal Engine 2. Like it's in all of the engines now at this point. I think even RE has ray tracing built into it, but it's not like it's an option that you can turn off like Unreal Engine or all of these other engines.
But it's optimized.
But the thing is it's built into it. Like everything that they do into it, which I think I've mentioned this before. Like Unreal Engine, a lot of developers when they're creating like an open world game, they don't actually make their own lighting system for it. They just use the preset ray tracing thing for it, and then just go, okay, that's fine.
You and I have complained about this for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And anybody that plays games that listens to this podcast or listening to us for the first time, go back and watch games that have lighting effects that was created by the developers, and even back then,
specifically go look at Alien Isolation.
Well, I'm going back to even games that are older than that. The lighting effects were still cool for the time. You know, because that's the cool thing about different gaming generations is you get yourself in that mindset. Get out of the new games. You're playing the old one. Watch the cool shading effects on like in Castlevania, the candlesticks. And you watch them radiate. Like, yeah, it's only one small little radiating candle, but they created that.
It was built in for it.
And the game doesn't slow down when you run by it.
Yeah.
Or get all weird every time you get by it.
Yeah.
You know, and right now I think the biggest crime against gaming, besides all the stuff that we talked about with the greediness of gaming, is the laziness in development of. Let's rent this engine.
Here's one that I can actually talk about for a minute, and that's with Helldivers, right? Like we talk about laziness. So Helldivers is in another state, and this game has been out for a little while now. I think it's been like a year or something because it came out last year. I think, or is it 2024? 2 years. Yeah. So it's been in a constant state of back and forth between, oh my God, we're so back, and oh my God, it's so over. And it's in another spot where it's like, oh my God, it's so over. Now, each of them are usually for like different reasons. A lot of it was performance based because here's the big thing. Like they just recently reduced this file size from 130 gigabytes down to 20. Now, yeah, 20 gigabytes. That's a huge amount. And that was because they had a shit ton of duplicate files, a shit ton of unnecessary files, just bloating the game size and making it completely just overfilled with what it is. And a lot of the problems that they've had, other than optimization, is the balancing issue. Now, their problem right now is that they keep doing these new updates, and they'll release this new thing, and then it'll be like, right now it's like these new mechs, right? And then with the balancing patch, they made it so that the bug's armor can't get penetrated by a fucking minigun. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist, but I can tell you a minigun's bullet can penetrate a chitinous shell pretty fucking easy.
Okay. Fun fact, I just watched this on YouTube. Jesse Ventura from Predator with the minigun. That was a real minigun. They built him a harness in that game, in that movie. So people were like, "How can he fire that?" They had to slow the gun down. So that gun in 1986, if you had it mounted to a gun stand or on a helicopter, would shoot 6,000 rounds a minute. 6,000 rounds.
Yeah.
In order for a man his size, 6'4", like
built
300
like
pounds
fucking,
with steroids, in order for him not to fly. Like the gun just go flying up. They had to reduce the barrel size to 1,250 rounds per minute. Okay, and he even said if I turned wrong, the gun would just go. And he is a large man. He's not an average sized guy. So you're telling me that an alien, an organic alien, or a robot can withstand 6,000 rounds a minute that's shooting metal? No, that's stupid.
Yeah, and so right now. The other big problem that we've been having is progression feels really terrible, and the progression feels terrible, and then the Galactic War system, which everybody's praised before, it's fucking awesome. It's such a cool to be in an actual live war setting. It's the coolest thing ever. Now, the thing that I'm bringing up is pertinent to that. The community came out with this huge patch, their own modded patch that allows mechs to be customized, that allows more customization for weapons, that's a reset in the Galactic War system, that has a whole new set that they're creating themselves, with balance patches that actually feel fun to play. Now I'm hearing all of the discourse being like, I mean, they're doing a lot of the memes going like, these modders built this in a cave with a box of scraps. Yep. And I'm thinking about it, and we're talking about laziness, and like, I'm trying to I love Arrowhead. They are awesome game developers. Helldivers 2, when it launched, was like the fucking peak of video gaming
for this generation, for sure.
Oh, dude, it was so awesome. And the problem that I'm having right now is I'm trying to argue with myself, being like, okay, are they just being lazy? Are they just being negligent and not wanting to listen to what the players want because they want to have this unbelievable grunt fantasy where you're not going to live through everything, instead of just being like, oh yeah, let the players that are really good at the game fucking play the game and get good at it and do this fun shit, do it their fun way, or fuck it. Modders are like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Snap my fingers, here's a whole mod. Now, I'm going to try it out because I'm on the wait list for it, but I can't think of like any other biggest example of that right now. Like, it really frustrates me so bad because I love all of the developers there.
You have to understand that like Sony is the top. Yeah. Sorry, I was sharing my cigar with him, and I was surprised that this cheap cigar tastes so good today. Yeah, I haven't played it since you know me.
You haven't played it much at all.
I haven't played it at all because I got through the training and I couldn't log in.
Yeah,
and then I got kind of off PlayStation for a while. I should probably get it on PC just so I could play it with you guys because
it is fun.
It's more accessible.
It's still a fun game. The game itself is really fun. They just keep doing these things where, like I said, they keep nerfing a bunch of shit that players are having fun with, and I have a hard time justifying it because I'm like, you guys just fixed this like 2 patches ago, and then you're going back on it and making it worse for no reason. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, like when the Illuminate first dropped, everybody was so hyped. When the automatons first had like new enemies coming out, anytime that they do anything brand new to the game, it's peak. It's so cool. Like, it's so mind-blowing that this team of AA Studio can create some of the coolest fighting combat you will ever see in a third-person shooter. But then they ruin it next patch by nerfing something that everybody likes. Or they come out with it and it's just not working like it's supposed to. It's
that
like,
happens
how does that fucking work if modders can do it in a weekend? In 3 weekends they fixed it.
I think you'll run into that problem with a lot of those games like that because World of Warcraft was notorious for that too. You'd be bombing through as a character. Like, it happened to me all the time. I had a rogue.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they'd nerf my character and I'm like, why am I not killing this guy?
That's the biggest problem with like MMOs for me, or even just like hero shooters right now. That's why I don't play Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, is because I'll get really fun and have a fun time with the character, and then they nerf it next time and I'm like, now I'm not having fun with this anymore. Yeah? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment of the podcast here, and it's going to be going down to the Back Alley Theater. But before we go into that, Bill, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking Shrink's Homestead Whiskey.
Shrink's Homestead Whiskey?
Shrink's.
All right. Let's go ahead and cling that shit, motherfucker.
All right. Here we go.
Alrighty.
What do you think, Kayman?
Do I taste cherry in that?
Mm-hmm. Cherry cask.
I love cherry.
Yep.
I love me some cherry.
Yeah, it's pretty good, huh?
Yeah. All right. So for the first segment on the Back Alley Theater, we have retrospect on why people are getting back to physical media and tech. MP3 and disc players are back on the rise in the sense of ownership making a comeback. Now, I can tell you this goes in with video gaming as well. People want to own the shit that they buy. They don't want to have. They don't want to be restricted in something that they own, and especially in gaming.
So, one man that has always been that way is your father.
Yes. Yeah,
he is an absolute hero when it comes to that.
Because he just downloads everything.
Well, because he wants it in his own collection. Mm-hmm. It's his. Mm-hmm. And I was always too lazy to do that. Mm-hmm. And now that I've gotten into that, like I said, one of the greatest moments in my future history right now is your dad changing me over to Bazite and playing on, that and get me. And then, of course, now we're seeing the Steam
transition and shit.
And now I brought this question to you when we were going to talk about this episode because I've been really thinking about getting another MP3 player because they have some really cool ones on Amazon for like $100. They have like 1 terabyte of hard drive space. Mm-hmm. And I thought about, like talking to your dad and going, I want my own media because my wife and I recently got into buying records.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did too.
And owning our favorite
record albums.
Yeah, not to get off subject, but we are talking about music. I wanted to let you know.
Well, this is a broad subject.
I want to let you know, just so you're fully aware, Wardruna has come out with a complete box set of all their records.
Why'd you tell me this?
Yeah, because I'm probably going to buy it too.
Why'd you tell me this? I can't afford it right now.
Neither can I. But I know that we're really big into streaming, but streaming is pretty shitty. I think that it's cool that we have it at our fingertips, but with the sacrificing of keeping it, because I don't get to keep any of the music on my iPhone. I have to pay a monthly service, and it's $40 a month for the music, the movies, and, for the Apple One service. And to be perfectly honest, it's the only streaming service I have. Mm-hmm. Like I don't pay for Netflix. My wife does, and we don't pay for HBO Max. We get it free with AT&T. But I just miss the days of physical media. I have a bunch of Blu-rays up in my office, like a ton of them, 300 or 400 of them.
Yeah, you also collected a lot of game collector's editions and stuff, and you have that physical media. Yep. I mean, there's a reason why I bought all of the Doom collector's editions because I loved those games so much.
I understand that it's more convenient to stream off of a $1,200 cell phone.
I wouldn't say like it is convenient. I think it's just more down to how much stuff costs. Like in terms of like my position, like I can't really be going around and spending, $30-$40.
But you could spend $100 on an MP3 player and download everything to a computer.
Right. But at the same time, I would want to have a CD or. Like I have a few CDs
I think
for my
records
car.
are where it's at, personally, in my opinion. And
the sound quality is better.
Yeah. So for me, collecting records, which are about $30 to $40 a piece,
yeah.
I think for me, it's like you think about what you're going to listen to. Like, is this album something that I'm going to?
Yeah, I have 7 records in my room, and the reason why I stopped getting them is because I ran out of space. But I eventually want to go back and get every Symphony X album. I want to go and get Orbit Culture's records.
Yep.
I want to go and get the Browning records, which I didn't do this time, and I'm kind of mad at myself for doing that. But I want to get those things. It's just that everything's become so expensive. Like, and if I did, let's say here, like, we'll play with it a bit. Like, if I canceled my subscription for Spotify.
Yep.
If I canceled my subscription, which I don't actually have any subscriptions for TV, I think the only one I'm paying for is this website called movies.do, which is basically the same thing, but I can download all of the movies if I wanted to. If I canceled all of those subscriptions, I would have definitely more availability to just collect a record a month. Well,
I think it's also where we're at in our lives. Like I own my own home, so I have room for that stuff.
Yeah.
That's
the other thing I worry about.
I like the ability to own.
I want to buy
more records.
No, I want to buy in terms of movies. I'm going to buy Iron Lung. Like, I'm going to buy the DVD box set for that.
There is a really cool website called Vinegar Syndrome where they reproduce old movies.
Oh, really?
I mean, yes, they're more expensive, like $20-$30.
Well, it's a whole process.
But they are they're reprints, and they're usually in 4K, which is really cool. And then a funny story is I just found out, I'm like, man, if I sell my PS5, I won't have a Blu-ray player. And my wife goes, we have a Blu-ray player in the office, in the other room, just sitting up on the thing. And I'm like, what? and I remember
I would have to buy my own Blu-ray player.
But they're $50.
Yeah. I think the reason why people are doing that is because people are sick of not owning their content, Especially, I think about it more in terms of music. That's more difficult. Like movies, I could totally get behind. I will buy. I already want to buy like Iron Lung and shit like that. But I think that the harder sell is doing music. Even knowing that people should be doing that because that's where most of the artists get their money from is merch and buying their records, their CDs.
It's the best way to do it. But
I mean, I have the Brownings CD album of Omni. Yeah. Like even if I didn't get the record, I got that.
I think the cool thing about streaming is we get the opportunity to listen to a lot of different stuff.
Yes.
But with that said, you could definitely do a combo with streaming and then figure out, oh yeah, this album's definitely worth owning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I should honestly move to YouTube Music instead of doing Spotify. It's just that I've gotten so comfortable with Spotify and I use it all the time that I'm just kind of like I'm like trying to justify and how I can make that kind of work. I
just think it's funny that it's on the rise, especially with say your generation, because it's cool to see it because that means that I get to do it, and it's cool because your generation and the generation before, like the millennial generation, that's when all the streaming stuff really kicked in.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see your generation go, yeah, the streaming stuff's cool, but I kind of want to own it and not have to worry
There's
about...
a feeling you get when you buy a favorite movie, a band, a video game, and you have the physical CD, the physical copy of it just in your hands.
It's funny. I had somebody ask me once, do you ever regret anything in your life? And I said, no. And then as soon as they walked away, I immediately remember taking my entire booklet of like a ton of CDs I had, like 400 of them.
And selling it?
Throwing it away. I know. The dumbest thing in the planet. And that's so if and when there's an afterlife and I decide to tell them what my biggest regret was, it'll be that. Because I had so many CDs.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dad still has all of his ripped CDs everywhere lying around and shit like that.
Yep.
No, I mean, I don't know. I want to. I do.
It's definitely a money thing, but I would just say that it's money is only we all work.
That's a part of it.
It's the shitty part. You got to buy something, but looking over how you spend $40 a month on a service, like I do. If you really look at it, that's a record a month, or a DVD a month, and it's 12 DVDs or Blu-rays in a year.
Yeah.
And they're probably ones that I'm going to rewatch. Oh, there's one want to watch, Alien 1 again or whatever. I have the entire Alien box set upstairs.
Yeah.
And what do? I get on my Apple TV and I watch it. And it starts to do the streaming thing. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, instead of just booting up the menu, clicking play and going. Yeah, I think that's also the bigger thing, too, is a lot of the streaming services are just slow. And it makes it really annoying to just I just want to watch this fucking movie.
Yep.
I know that's definitely a thing for me.
I think people forget how easy it is to grab a disc out of a case, just put it in the machine and go.
Well, it is a part to being lazy. People just want to sit back and not even have to worry about it.
And I think when you really love something and you put money into it, you're more willing to watch something. Whereas when we're watching something on streaming, it's like you spend 90% of the time scrolling and then picking a TV show because it's a half hour long.
That's a good aspect to think about it.
I do it all the time where it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this right now because I only have an hour.
Yeah, you want to stim
your
brain.
So I end up watching a stupid show. I love Friends, but you end up watching a 22-minute episode of Friends because you can't decide on what you want to watch.
I think TV shows might be the way that because I couldn't see myself purchasing a CD. Right, I would rather just go and find the episode instead of having to scroll through menus to try to find the episode and then reading the descriptions. I'd rather just find the episode and then watch it. But movies, I want to own movies.
Movies are different because when you commit to say watching a movie like RoboCop 1, okay, just hit play, go.
Yeah, for sure.
TV shows are a little different.
Okay, top 5 horror movies, horror movie series. Our picks, 5 being the least and 1 being our favorite. Now. You probably already know what my favorite horror movie is.
Well, I'll tell you my 5. Halloween series, number 1. Nightmare on Elm Street, number 2. I would say
motherfucker.
Alien 1, 2, and 3 series, number 3. Jeez. Now, Friday the 13th.
You have to just sit there and think about it.
Yeah, no, Friday the 13th is definitely number 4 because it wasn't my favorite. And not my least favorite, but because there was less hits than the first 3 were the biggest hits and the last 3 were not so good, is George A. Romero's movies. I absolutely love his first 3 movies. If we said series, if I wasn't looking for
that is
the whole series.
A thing I was going to say.
Whereas okay, here's
because are we individualisting it or are we
here's a good
as a whole?
Here's a good example. The reason why Halloween is my favorite series is the original series was kind of terrible after the second one. But when you go and you look at 1 and 2, and then the current ones that are out that were the homage films, Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and you take those were the directors and writers of those 3 films, the newer ones, thought that that's how it should have been. 1, 2, they're movies. And if you put those together, that's how I look at it. That's why it's so great. I put Nightmare on Elm Street at number 2 because I absolutely love 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then you look at Alien. I put Alien 1, 2, and 3. Now, Alien 3 wasn't as great as the first 2, but it's still a good series. And then George A. Romero, same thing. I like 3 out of his movies. So that's where I'm at with it.
I'm kind of struggling in my head because a lot of my horror movies are either sci-fi or one-off kind of things. I think The Void, The Thing, Alien 1 and 2, stuff like that.
We don't have to go serious. I know that I've watched more horror series.
I know that you're one for a lot of the slasher stuff. With Halloween, Jason and shit like that. I'm not, and it's not just because I hate them because I don't. It's just because it's not my thing. I like a lot of body horror stuff. I love Slither with what's his face?
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in the movie. No, I'm talking about the Mr. Slither himself. He's played by
I can't remember his name.
Fucking he was
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, Rooker. There you go. Yeah.
Well, he's an excellent actor anyways.
Yeah.
So anything he touches is awesome. But yeah, Nathan Fillion is the main character in that movie.
Yeah, because he's the Well, I thought the girl was. No,
he's the main cop.
Yeah, but isn't the movie more centered towards their relationship?
He's the main character.
Okay. And it's hard for me to pick because I have a few movies in my mind that are definitely horror centric, but they're a lot more specific scenarios. And it's not to say that slashers aren't specific scenarios because each of them are different from each other. Freddy is different than Jason. Jason is different than Michael. they're just not my thing. So if I had to pick it, my number one will always be The Thing, and I just love that movie so much, and I watch it every year.
Right.
My second probably would be Alien 1, 2, and 3, or specifically 1 and 2 because I love those movies a lot.
Yeah, because the second one's more action horror, but it's awesome.
It's awesome.
So awesome.
And my third is going to be Underwater because I loved the.
What a great pick, dude! Holy crap, that was an underrated film, by the way.
100%.
Like I saw Kristen Stewart, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be.
You're
terrible.
like, oh no, it's going to be terrible.
And then
you boot up
it,
the movie.
You're like,
it's so good. It's something that really and I remember with that movie they were going to originally release it like earlier, but they couldn't do that to whatever reason.
That was one of those sci-fi horror films. To be perfectly honest, for me, that when I watched it and finished it, I was ready to hit play again.
Yeah.
I just thought it was.
I think I was the same.
I just thought it was a underrated. Like I was like, this looks kind of terrible from the trailers because trailers are kind of shitty nowadays. And then I watched it and I'm like, holy shit, good job, Kristen Stewart. Replay, please.
Yeah, for real. Could you count Troll Hunter a horror? No. Okay.
No,
I was gonna say
it's
Troll
not really
Hunter.
scary.
I don't know. There's parts of it that are. It takes itself pretty scary.
There's parts of it that are intense for sure, but it's not a horror film.
Oh, for Cloverfield.
Okay.
I like Cloverfield, even though that movie terrifies me. And
Cloverfield had more horror scenes than like
yes,
than the other one you just spoke of. So for sure,
I just like Troll Hunter. I think it's an underrated film.
I mean, there's a lot of claustrophobic, intense scenes in Cloverfield 1. In the original Cloverfield, like especially in the subway scene when those spider things come out. The parasites.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah,
dude, fuck that scene. That was really intense because it was almost like a zombie apocalypse when they go to the medical area and the people are like
they're blowing up.
Yeah, oh, dude, so intense.
That scene didn't really scare me the most.
It was intense. It wasn't scary. It was intense. Because it was that they used the night vision on the camera. It was really cool, dude.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And then like my fifth film, and you're gonna get mad at me for this, but it's The Void.
Why?
Because it's my fifth favorite.
I don't. Oh, it's your least. But yeah, but that list is insane. I mean, The Void being the worst out of the five, and not worse, just not on your top, is still better than 90% of those.
It's still
films.
top five.
Yeah.
I mean,
hands down.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick like horror movies because I'm also not super into the horror movies.
I've been pushing
now
it
my
hard.
sixth would go Terrifier.
Yeah,
like I love Terrifier movies. They're fun, but they're a different kind of fun.
Yeah, they're definitely body horror.
Yeah, and then under that goes the Dead series. So six is Terrifier, 7's the Living Dead series.
Yeah, I only did top five, but
I'm just telling you to give examples.
Somebody
right?
had to fucking top me and do 7 here. Hey, dude, what is it about cosmic horror that's so interesting to us?
Well, it's interesting that you say it's so interesting to you. I know it's so interesting to me because I love space, and cosmic horror comes from space. The Thing, it came from space.
Well, when I think cosmic horror, I think very
like godlike beings,
H.P. Lovecraft, like cosmic entities that are so insane.
Can we get a really good, awesome Call of Cthulhu movie, please? Can please? Like, I want a movie where it's Call of Cthulhu and it's not about, oh my god, it's a giant Cthulhu. Like, have it be accurate to like a guy is fucking losing his mind.
Yep.
Because this entity that lives in the ocean is just so powerful psychically that you just go insane.
Yep.
It's just like it's the perfect fucking horror movie.
I think what I love about cosmic horror is it's obviously the body horror and the creepy cosmic of it. But
there's a lot of body horror in cosmic.
But I love the scenes in most cosmic horror, like in The Void or in Iron Lung, when you see this grandiose thing
that you just can't comprehend,
where you're just amazed, like, oh, that's going to kill me, but you like don't care because it's like almost,
it's kind of beautiful,
it's creepy beautiful.
It's kind of a beautiful thing in a way where it's so grandiose, so ancient, so unlike anything we understand.
Exactly.
I think that's what it is. Really, is that we just don't understand it, so it interests us.
I think my big grab to cosmic horror is that humans think we're so important.
Yeah.
And cosmic horror.
And then you see something and it's like...
Cosmic horror is like, remember that little rock you tripped on, you picked up and looked at it? That's what we are to cosmic horror creatures.
Yeah.
This creature's floating through space, just happens to see you, and you die because you see it.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the creativity when somebody comes up with, like, say you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that reminds me of this, and that, right? It's because they probably read a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft and all the godlike creatures, and they kind of said, "Oh, we'll take a little bit of this, and a little bit of that."
The Void did that a lot.
Hellboy did that.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved the first Hellboy movie with the cosmic horror.
Yeah, with the giant squids in space thing
so
trapped
awesome.
in the internal prison of crystal. That movie's so good.
Yep.
I really wish we got a third movie.
Well,
of
what's
that.
your favorite cosmic horror movie, dude? Like, it can't be The Thing because that's a sci-fi horror. I'm talking cosmic horror.
It's probably The Void. I can't really think of anything else that. Okay,
There was a couple. It's the shape, the space in color, whatever. With Nicolas Cage.
Color. Yeah, look it up.
I'll look it up, buddy.
Yeah, so I was actually going to bring that up. There's a few of them that come to mind. Like The Void is one of them. Iron Lung is definitely one of them. And then this one that we're talking about, it's got Nicolas Cage in it, and it's about this purple light. Oh, and The Lighthouse, that movie too.
Is that the one with Robert Pattinson?
Mm-hmm. Robert Pattinson.
That's a cosmic horror movie?
Yeah.
And I've been sitting on this the whole time. Wow, I'm a loser.
You would love that movie. It starts off black and white, and they're both like literally just two dudes in a lighthouse trying to figure out how they're going to survive in this like crazy ass storm. It goes crazy. It goes so insane. I think it's like The Shape of Color or something like that.
I think you're right. I think it's called The Shapes of Color. That is based on a
book,
on a H.P. Lovecraft inspired story.
Is it? Yeah. And it was really good too. I remember when it came out, everybody was kind of like losing their minds. Fuck, top cosmic horror movie. Oh my god! Out of like all of these ones, they're so good to pick. Man, this is tough. Shit, man. I'm like rationalizing it because I love like the top two. I don't know if I would say the top two. Two of the most like number one contenders in my brain right now is running between
Color Out of Space.
Color Out of Space. That's what it is.
Yeah, that was a wicked movie. That movie is done so freaking well. You seen it?
Yeah, I watched parts of it. I need to rewatch it though.
That movie was filmed.
Yeah, it was awesome. Cinematography was so cool.
But that's you can do that with cosmic horror though. You don't have to have much of a story other than the fact that it's wild.
Fuck, dude. I was saying, like, my brain is picking between The Void and Iron Lung because I love both of those movies so much, but I can't say which one is better than the other. I would
just say both.
Well, I would say that The Void is probably better.
It's the most well-rounded.
I think, yeah. And I mean, it's hard for me to say because everybody knows how much I love the Iron Lung movie. But at the same time, too, like both of them have such really cool concepts in them that it's just hard for my brain to pick which one's the coolest. You know,
yeah, they're both. I felt like The Void is scarier.
I felt like Iron Lung was scarier.
No, I wasn't scared in Iron Lung.
Maybe it's just because I have claustrophobia.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's
like
true.
being.
Dude, I'm super claustrophobic. I can't even watch the scene in Alien where they put Bishop in the tunnel, the tube, and he starts climbing it. I can't even watch that scene. And that movie, The Descent. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, that's a good movie too, but I can't watch it because I'm like, nope, can't do it.
So what's we'll go with you because I think I'll figure it out once I figure out what you kind of pick. What's your top horror movie or cosmic horror movie?
Ooh. Oh gosh.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it's not because, I mean, I would say the one that got me into it is the one you've been talking about, The Void. It's absolutely one of those movies. When I watched it, I was thinking it was going to be like a Resident Evil meets a cult deal with the guys in the coned outfits.
Could you consider The Ritual also a cosmic?
No, that's a pagan god that still lives in the forest. You know,
okay.
You know, but I would ask our listeners if they have or if they are into cosmic horror. If there's any ones that we obviously can't think of,
put them in the comments.
Yeah, put them in the comments.
Comments, please, because this is tough. I think probably we'll both say The Void because that's the one that comes to our brain the most. I think
it's the one I've definitely rewatched the most.
The most, yeah, for sure,
and if you haven't seen it, don't watch it with your kids.
don't do that.
But it is a fucking killer horror movie that is cosmic.
Also low budget too. It wasn't a crazy budget.
Nope. It was done so freaking well. I mean, seriously. I think we'll move on though, huh?
Yeah, I think The Void. We'll go with The Void.
Yeah, let's move on from this.
Okay. Is the message dead? Or are we waiting? The message! Or is it waiting to strike back?
I think it's waiting to strike back.
I think it already is.
Yeah.
We talked about it. prior episode, and we spent some time thinking about it, and we got some more news about it. The Odyssey.
Why? Why? Why is this happening to me? Christopher Nolan, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Kayman, why don't you explain?
So, The Odyssey, which is, I've mentioned it before, it's one of my favorite stories of all time.
FY, buddy, you're not alone. That is actually considered the greatest story ever told.
Is it really?
Yes. After we finished our last podcast and you were talking about how much you loved it, just the story of the Odyssey and where you got it from.
Because it's like the perfect tale.
I went back and I did some research about the Odyssey, just the Odyssey poem in general, and it's still considered one of the greatest poems ever written. I mean, this video that I was watching went back and took the time. This person's really good. I can't remember what their name was. Went back and showed how much of that story has influenced our current world in all these different TV series, like the Simpsons and Futurama, and it was like episodes of the Simpsons where they actually did the Odyssey.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many there's so many movies that it's in that we don't know that's in that like a movie took and we're going to change it a little bit, but it's actually that story. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty crazy.
So Christopher Nolan decided to, which I remember when I first saw it, I was like, Matt Damon as Odysseus.
I know, I defended it.
Honestly, it doesn't make me that mad because at the same time, like his age, his actor type wouldn't really upset me. And it's the same thing with Anne Hathaway being Penelope.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make me upset because I know a lot of people are upset that they're not casting Greeks, but like Greek is so mysterious in terms of how who is Greek, right? Like
the Greeks.
Right. But fuck off. It's not something that is easy as to be like it's the same thing with like Scandinavians, like true Nords, right? Like everybody still tries to figure out where they came from.
Even people in Scandinavia aren't true Nords. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
They come
though.
from it.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's the same thing with like the Greeks,
I think,
and same thing with Egyptians too.
Yes,
and a lot of people are upset about that. And the other thing I'm mostly upset about, and I remember when I saw it first, is Tom Holland is playing his son. And I remember, and I was like, dude, this guy is just getting casted in fucking everything, And it's not necessarily his fault. It's the agents and the casting director's fault for doing that. But I don't question their ability to act it properly. I question the narrative about it.
Right. Which
is what we've mentioned with The Message, right? And you can blame Critical Drinker for making that, The Message. And we've joked about it before. But it's true. Like, they're taking Christopher Nolan has pulled things from interviews where he'll pull bits and pieces from this lady that reinterpreted the Odyssey tale, but in her own feministic views. Now, there's nothing wrong with feminism. Feminism is okay when it's true feminism, right? We love women, especially when they're told in they're not taking over roles that were like traditionally male roles.
Right.
Like we don't like it when, for instance, it'd be the same thing if like we replaced Ellen Ripley with a dude. Like, people would be upset.
Oh, dude. You don't take Ellen Ripley away.
Ellen Ripley's fucking awesome. And it's not because she's this fucking tough, badass character. No, she's fucking terrified most of the time. But she's smart. She's cunning. She thinks around it. She gets herself out of these situations.
There's a point in Aliens where she gets tired of these fuckers.
Yeah.
And she stands right up to the queen. And that's one of the coolest scenes.
In history.
But the message has to go, and
then we also have fucking Zendaya playing as Athena.
What?
Yeah, and then we have what's that lady's name or that dude's name? They're trans now. They're the
Ellen Page.
Elliot Page. Yeah, Elliot Page. We don't know exactly what they're playing, but they're playing some sort of masculine character that's like.
Has Christopher Nolan not played Veto 1378?
No.
because it bombed terribly because it was a narrative lesbian story with a lesbian knight. And
you're talking about 1913.
Yeah. No, 1378. It's not 1913. It's in the 13th century, dude. It's knights. It's not World War I.
I think I'm thinking of a different name.
Yeah. It's called like Veto or Veto 1378, and it literally is a game about a female knight and her girlfriend. They don't really say it, but they do flirt with each other. Gets taken, and it's not only is it one of the worst games But the whole message of a woman being a knight, like we know that women can fight. It's not like us, but they
have different methods of fighting than just
knights.
being.
They were not knights.
They just have different methods than being how. Like I'm thinking about it in the aspect that like a dude will barge in, beat the shit out of everybody, right? Like It's more understandable if she was like an assassin, right? Going around on like because she's small, nimble, and has a lot of capabilities to
surprise attack.
Yeah, it would make more sense if it was that, but they made it to where she was just literally going and then one by one fighting all of these dudes and winning.
Yeah, the message where a 125-pound woman can take on a 300-pound man in a fair fist-to-fist fight, not going to happen. If that was the case, then UFC would have women versus men fighting, and it would never happen.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The UFC have the last match that happened. No, hold on. Like the last match that happened with those two ladies, they beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah,
but if it was a dude, she would have been on the floor in 2 seconds.
Yeah. and I think the problem with the message is that they downplay the strength of men to prop up women.
Well, they've been doing that for years,
and that's the issue. And if this movie truly is going to be that way, it's going to bomb.
It's not I don't think it's necessarily going to be like they're going to downplay men because the story is about Odysseus. It's not about Penelope and the son. They're in it, but it's not. It's called the Odyssey. Yeah. Who's the name of the Odyssey? Odysseus. Yeah. Like that's his tale. What would really frustrate me is if we see the movie and half of the movie is Penelope just getting furious, getting angry, instead of being just pissed off and like, I'm done with all of these dudes. Stop trying to fucking take over my kingdom.
Yep.
You can't have me. I'm loyal to Odysseus. He's my husband.
Right.
And she has this feeling throughout every point when she's talking to her son. He's still alive. I know he's still alive. Because Odysseus is a fucking powerful, not like powerful in terms of like he's tough, he's big, he's strong. He's powerful in his sheer will. That's the whole tale, is he's willful to get back home, and he will do anything to get back home.
I'm just tired of shoehorning stuff in that doesn't go.
I think it pisses me off more because the tale of the Odyssey is about the human power of sheer will and complete mind focus on that one thing. All he wants to do is go home, but he's put through so much shit.
Yep.
And that being transformed into Penelope's the one that's in more pain is so fucked up because it's completely doing what they've always done forever, is ignoring men's struggles instead of it being like they're both struggling, they're both in pain,
right?
And you're in the perspective of Odysseus. You're gonna get Anne Hathaway being like, I'm furious.
I think, like, I don't have any problem with Zendaya. I think she's a great actress.
She is,
but she's,
even knowing that a lot of people make fun of her face. But I mean, like,
but the problem I have with Zendaya is that, you know,
there's certain character types she fits.
Historically, she would be that person. If you're talking about Greeks, they weren't tan skinned. Okay, and that's not a slight on people that are tan skinned, but we've talked about that before. Nobody's going to want to watch a movie about Martin Luther King and he's a white guy. Nobody cares. I don't care.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't tried to make a Martin Luther King movie again.
Well, yeah, I mean, might do well, but who knows?
If it's done good enough. I mean, we have the Michael Jackson movie that just came out, and everybody's kind of like 50-50 on it. It's kind of the same thing with like Bohemian Rhapsody, where when it came out, everybody was kind of 50-50 about it. Yeah. I feel like with that aspect, it's more just about like them doing the movies about these dead artists that I kind of have a problem with, but we'll get into that on another episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm going to wait and see, but
it hurts me because the Odyssey is so important to me. Not even just in terms, like, I know you mentioned it's like everybody says it's the greatest story of all time, but like it's just so important to me because of just all of the narrative things that happen in that tale, like them stopping on the first island to take a rest, and they go into a cave, and there's the Cyclops, and the Cyclops starts eating his men, and he's like, "Hey man, stop doing that!" And then he passes out, and they try to kill it by stabbing it in the eye. And then they travel through the ocean and find the sirens that lead his men into a death trap where a bunch of them die. And it literally just comes down to him, and he forsakes the gods. He says, "Why must you do this to me? I have done nothing to you. Why are you doing this to me?" And he passes out, and he makes it home. And his son sees him for the first time after 20 years. It's the best story. It's the best story. Mm-hmm. And it would suck for it to come out, and it's just the worst. I know a lot of people want to hate on it because the characters don't look like Greek people. I can shut my brain out of it because it's the modern time, and that's just going to happen because people are going to be casted that way. They're not going to look at it and go, do you look like this character anymore? Every casting director goes, who's the most popular actor that we can get to play this role? Yeah, even if it's a one-off.
Yeah, but that's kind of a problem, though.
It is a problem. No, I'm not saying it's not a problem.
Like I was getting to that with Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tom Holland brings people to the theater with Spider-Man.
Agreed.
But not much else. Zendaya has been more popular bringing people to the theater with the movies she's chosen, like Dune, and
she was really good in Dune.
And her show at Euphoria, and stuff like that. And she's also in Spider-Man. But just because she's popular doesn't mean she's the right fit. And casting directors need to fit. They need to take more chances on people that can play the part.
Mm-hmm. I think the more part that everybody should be angry about is the way that they're talking. This is a tale that's been told for eons, and they're talking like it's today. It just doesn't make any sense.
There's a reason. Just laziness. Then
there's a reason why in theatrics they speak theatrical, because that's how history was, and the way that they're just going to rewrite it.
They're technically reciting the poem or the play that was written 200, 300, 400 years ago.
Now, I'm interested to see if it comes out, and then another few years we get accurate retell. We only have like one movie of the Odyssey that came out in like the 90s, I think it was. And it was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't like the next best thing. I think Clash of the Titans beat it out, but it was still a good movie. It was fun to watch.
Clash of the Titans was awesome, though.
I mean,
the whole series.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the Odyssey has been told in plays.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that, because that's that historical accuracy to it, And the way that they're just kind of like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Well, yeah, and they're also just doing big Hollywood right now.
If you want to make your own fucking story, just make your own fucking story.
They don't do that now.
I know. I know.
What's your most anticipated movie so far of 2026, dude?
It was that.
I think Resident Evil.
I've also a lot of people are upset about it.
Yeah, I'm excited
because they're saying it's not a Resident Evil movie. I think it looks good, and this is probably just because
the teaser trailer that we watched is not showing us the full story.
A lot of people said that it just doesn't look like Resident Evil.
That's fine. I think that's the point. And
I would agree.
And I also think that
because I mean, how many fucking Resident Evil movies that we had with Mia Jovovich and shit like
terrible.
that? And then we had the Resident Evil.
That's another example of a Hollywood director who shoehorns his wife in, creates a brand new character, and then all the actual characters we care about, the Chris Redfield, the Leons, they're all characters that are kind of side characters. Well, I don't remember there being an Alice video game that anybody cared about.
Right.
Oh, wait, because there isn't one.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for Resident Evil, but I hope that...
I'm excited for Resident Evil. I'm still waiting on the Backrooms movie because I'm really excited to go see that. I still need to go and watch Mortuary Assistant. Because I know that that's out now, and then Hokum just came out recently that we got to go and watch. Those were my top movies for this year.
Yeah, Resident Evil was the one that with just the trailer I was most excited for.
Not even Hokum?
No. I'm excited for Hokum, but
you're more
most
excited
anticipated is like I just got this really cool eerie.
It's very eerie
with that trailer, and I really hope that in the next trailer they release it shows a little more story because it might shut some people up. But I mean, it may not be the Resident Evil that we're hoping.
It may not be directly linked to Resident Evil. It's just it's kind of like the Evil Dead movies where like they use the same things, but they're completely different to how they used to be.
Well, it's hard to get over Ash Williams as a character.
Ash Williams is just
Bruce
great,
Campbell was a hero to many. Me is
hero to me. I took a picture with him.
Bastard.
We could post that on the Instagram.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of rough right now, and it's been like this for at least the past 3 years. There's just not been like a whole lot of movies that have been really good.
Nope.
And I actually just recently rewatched, and this was due to personal sadness reasons, but I rewatched Guardians 3, and I remember back in that time, man, when like that movie was first coming out, and it was just like another legendary moment.
That movie's brutal.
It's so sad. It's so fucking sad. I cried. I'm a man enough to admit I fucking cried again.
Men don't cry. We weep in silence.
Yeah, I definitely did. Are remakes and movies worth it these days, Bill?
No, not really.
No, we can. Is this a quote that we can both say? No.
Yeah. No, because I think you said it best when you said when we're talking about the games is that we appreciate the two that we've talked about, the Resident Evil series
and the Dead Space,
and the Dead Space, but they aren't necessary. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the biggest things that I was so upset about was when they were talking about remaking Big Trouble in Little China with The Rock. And I have no problem with The Rock, but he's not Jack Burton. Mm-mm. Kurt Russell will forever be, always will be Jack Burton. And why Jack Burton was so cool is he was just a dude. He was not some big buff guy that could handle a bunch of stuff.
He tried to act like it.
He tried to act like it, and he talked the talk.
Leave Jack Burton alone.
Yep. But that character was a regular dude with just...
He's just a trucker.
Yep. A real trucker.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that we can think of right now is like they've been hinting and talking about redoing that whole movie, Big Trouble in Little China. And that movie, I think it's a different director too. It just can't be done without a different director. John Carpenter set that movie in stone.
Every remake that we've ever watched, most of them are terrible or don't live up to the original. Let's just be honest.
I mean,
as much as I love Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, it is not. It's a good movie, and I watch it all the time. I still love it, but it is not the 1970s.
Well, I mean, even then too, we have like all of the remakes, the live action remakes with like Disney films, and now we're getting DreamWorks films, and it's just like
there's no reason for it.
Everybody told me that How to Train Your Dragon live action remake was so good. It was like the original, they said. I watched it, and the voice work with the characters, it's. This goes into a deeper topic with like animation as a whole, right? When we watch an animated movie, every character is played a certain way that's a little more like theatrical, I would say, right? Their characters their voice acting is more pronounced, more eccentric, more like life into it. When you watch a live action remake, it's just they put it to real life, right? Like the scene that I watched that I remember was when Hiccup and Astrid first talk to each other when she goes to find him in the woods because he finds him running around, doing a bunch of shit, and she's wondering why he's like so good at handling these dragons. And then she meets Toothless for the first time. The dialogue, the way it was said, it was the same lines. The way it was said did not hit the mark for me, and that's because the movies accentuated it. They had that character. They had the character there. And it felt like the characters were just copy and pasted, but put, instead of it being on like a Word doc or a Google doc, it was put somewhere else.
Are you telling me that they took How to Train a Dragon and they added DLSS 5 to it?
Yeah, that's a good way. I mean, like, I love those movies so much. Those are my childhood movies, and I love dragons, and that's probably why I like those movies a lot. Now, they're talking about doing the second movie, and I'm already pissed because I know the only character that did really good in that movie was Gerard Butler, but that's fucking Gerard Butler, okay? He makes that character. He is Stoic the Vast, right? I worry that the main character that they got to play Hiccup, he's not a bad actor. It's not about their acting. It's about the dialogue and the dialogue coach. They just didn't do a good job on it. And I try to put it in with all of these other live action movies, like you think Disney with like The Lion King and shit like that. They just feel off compared to their animated counterparts. And I think that brings up a bigger question of like, what can't be put as a live action, whether it's like a new story or whatever, and what can't be put as an animated film.
Right.
Like give it a good example. Like what would a movie that's Big Trouble in Little China? I couldn't see that as a movie that would be animated.
Nope. It'd be dumb. Well, it's just like when they talked about doing Evil Dead 4 as an animation. Like, even though I want to see Ash and Bruce Campbell...
Well, that's also because Bruce Campbell is old and he has cancer now.
I just don't think I'd want
You just don't think it will be the same?
I just don't want to see it. I like all three Evil Dead movies, the practical effects, the overacting of Bruce Campbell, and not overacting, but
he's also a good voice actor too. It's not about his ability. I think it's just the usefulness. Okay, well we've mentioned that before. We can talk about it more later. You have finished season 1 of Peaky Blinders. Well, you want to give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, dude, good show. I don't. It's hard to talk about it because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin the story because it's very well done. It's all in the pursuit of these brothers, the Peaky Blinders, trying to come up in this world of gambling and becoming a legit business. And there's so many little side stories, like with Thomas's sister getting pregnant. Spoiler, with with one of his old war buddies that becomes the communist leader party, and they kind of have to join forces against this other rival gambler, horse betting guy. Comes to a head at the very end of the season 1, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to fill it out, but
what would you give it out of 5?
Out of 5,
yeah, we do
4.75.
4.75. That's pretty high.
Yep.
Okay.
It's an excellent show, and I just wish I need to make more time to watch it. I haven't had time to get into season 2 yet, but it's actually on my main focus right now is to start season 2.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I watched. I mentioned it before. I watched Guardians 3 again for like the 4th time, and then I also watched 65 with
movie's awesome, dude.
Adam Driver. Yeah, and I remember when it came out, there was a lot of people that weren't super for it in terms of just like they thought it was like a very mediocre film. I don't remember it being that bad. I thought it was all right. I remember the ending dragging on a little bit, but like that's not terrible.
Yeah, but that was a cool part though.
No, it was awesome.
Watching the
dinosaurs fucking try to fight him and shit. I was like, I mean, the whole time I'm sitting there and I was stressed as all fuck because I was like, dude, there's dinosaurs everywhere. Yeah. You're gonna get killed by a dinosaur.
I just love the whole time you're looking up and it's just the whole movie is hinting at the comet coming down. Mm-hmm. You can just see it coming. It was such a crazy scene.
So is it that it is like time travel?
It has to be. Well, actually, I think what it is it's an advanced human species not doing time travel, but
like a different species of like humans on a different planet, and then that's how okay, because I remember it was like 65 million years ago.
Yep.
There was one man.
Yep.
It was all like cheesy fucking intro, but it was all taking itself seriously. Adam Driver is like he did really good in that movie. He does really good in all of his movies.
He's a really good actor. I love that guy. He
brings a certain charm to the screen. Like I would call it like Adam Driver charm. You know what I mean?
He has a really good way of adding like a monotone, like one-liner.
Yeah.
When he's delivering certain scenes, but in that movie it was way more like action based, and I did like his relationship with the little girl, right?
But she didn't speak the same language that he did.
No, but I did appreciate that little story arc for sure. Did you ever see the movie Ferrari with him?
Mm-mm.
He plays Enzo Ferrari.
Mm-mm.
That's a killer movie. I did not expect it to be as good as because I went in going, I really don't like,
Well, I mean, I watched The Black Klansman with him in it.
The which one?
The Black Klansman. That was the movie about the the one dude that was the black police cop or the black detective, and he literally like gets himself into the KKK.
Did you see the horror movie he was in with Bill Murray? The Dead Don't Die.
Oh,
it's a zombie film. It's a zombie. Yeah, he plays the younger sheriff, and all these people are being eaten and killed. And there's just a scene in the trailer that is in the movie. It's super funny. He's like, "Well, what do you think it is?" He goes, like, "You really want me to ask you? It's zombies." But we're like, "What?" It's just one of those movies where it's like it's very dry though. That's the problem. It's one of those movies where it's like super dry. It's a very slow burn. But I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought 65 was fine. Like it's not anything crazy to write home about, but it was also not something terrible. Like I enjoyed watching it.
It was still a fun movie.
Yeah,
like there's not a lot of good movies out there, and when that movie got kind of panned, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this movie.
I think it was just because it came out with didn't it come out with like Endgame and all of these other big hitters coming out?
I'm not sure when it released. I thought it was actually after that. I thought it came out in like 2023, 2024.
Let me check because I'm pretty sure 2023 March 10th is when it came out. Wow, it was literally a day after my birthday. That's so funny.
Well, when did Endgame come out?
2020. No, was it 2019?
Yeah, so it was a little bit after.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, that was Endgame. God, man, those movies fucking destroyed cinemas.
Well, that's when they were still writing good ones.
Well, it was the last good one, in my opinion, other than some like Tom Holland Spider-Man films.
Yeah, that's for sure. But no, I thought 65 was a fun film. It's a term that my brother-in-law uses. It was a bubblegum film. Where it was just fun to watch. Like, it was intense. It was, dude, I hate to say this, but actually, no, I don't. Fuck it. 65 is actually better than almost all the new Jurassic Park movies that are out.
Oh, for sure. No, for sure.
You know, and I did like the concept of a super ancient human species that was way more advanced, because those shows like Ancient Aliens always talks about an advanced human species from millions of years ago.
We're a hybrid from the Greys.
And it's like it kind of plays off that in a way, like where it's like science fiction. And they land on planet Earth when the dinosaurs attack, and I could totally get behind that in a way. If that movie was released in the 80s, it would have been
I loved his gun.
Yeah,
I loved
but
his
that
gun.
movie would have been par for the course in anything in the 80s.
True, it's true.
That wild ideas that they have. So that's why I appreciate it. Probably because I've watched so many cheesy sci-fi films.
When they were doing the scene where he has the girl and him crawling through the crawl space, and he was using the fucking explosives, I was like, that's going to cave in. And then it does, and I was like, no. That gave me claustrophobia for sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that shit.
Yeah, what would you give that movie out of 5?
I think I'd give it like a 3.5. I thought it was a very good, above average film. It was shot really well. The cinematography was really fun. The action was really fun. Adam Driver himself is just a good actor.
I thought the CG was actually done pretty good too.
It was. No, it was.
Like, it wasn't like watching the newest Jurassic World called Dominion.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, that movie is not dumb because of the CG. That movie's dumb because of the fucking ending scene when they're all walking around the fucking truck and the Giga Rex is right there. And I was just like, that's stupid. That thing would just destroy it.
You mean the Xenomorph thing?
No, that's the newest one.
What was
Dominion
that one?
Was the third one in the World series.
Okay,
the Jurassic World series.
What was the newest? Was it Rebirth?
Yes,
it's Rebirth.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry. I did not mean to throw any shade on any of the Chris Pratt ones. The only
one that was good was Jurassic World.
Yeah, so Rebirth
the second
was
one
so
was
bad.
The second one was bad, and the third
there
one was
was
bad.
Not a scene in that film that I could tell you was actually filmed on a real set. Like, there's a scene where they're walking through the jungle, and I'm just like, are we playing Far Cry? From like 2009? This looks terrible.
Yeah,
but I don't think that 65 had that same look.
No, it was definitely more believable for sure in terms of like the CGI. I did have a little problem with how the T-Rex things were kind of portrayed towards the end, where like I hate this idea that like these ancient primal animals just have like these like vendettas, right? Like it had a vendetta for him, and it's the same thing when they did that with Godzilla. Like I hated how they made Godzilla like fucking smile and shit in Kong versus Godzilla. It's just that they're animals. Animals have emotions, but they're not human emotions. Like they do feel happiness, they do feel sadness, but it's not going to be portrayed in the same way that we would portray it.
Yeah, it's not one of those quirky smirks like you'd see in an anime. Right?
Yeah, it's so like I'm going to get you. Like fuck off, bro. Like you're a dinosaur. You came out 65 million years ago. I'm the updated version.
You killed, you shit, and you roared.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, the idea. I want like an accurate depiction of like dinosaurs because that would make me shit myself. There's this picture online of a T-Rex that's across this like lake or whatever, and it's literally like straight head on looking at you with its mouth open, and it's kind of like drooling and shit. And they was playing the accurate sounds of how a T-Rex would sound, where it's making those low clicking rumble noises. Yep. I would shit myself. That would be terrifying.
Oh yeah, the recreation of the T-Rex growl and sound is way scarier than the T-Rex roar that they've ever had. Mm-hmm. Like that sound is like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So, anyways, you watched the first episode of One Piece live. Speaking of live action,
it's weird. I mean, I disclaimer: I've never watched One Piece, and I haven't expressed any interest in watching One Piece because it's such a long show and a long manga. Like we're talking like 1,000 episodes for the anime. But from what I've heard and what I've seen is it's a direct adaptation from the anime. And the thing that I was surprised by is how the actors take these characters from an anime but still make it live action kind of thing. Like you can definitely tell that it's anime centric, where they act kind of like, eccentric and very like overdone kind of stuff, but it's not something that would pull me out of it. But
does it give you the same feeling as like what we talked about earlier about How to Train a Dragon?
Yes and no. I say yes because you have the anime that you could go watch. I say no because the anime has thousands of episodes.
Yeah, but that's
filler.
more of an inconvenience than it being the same.
The thing I think that makes this kind of a thing that would be necessary is that it makes it accessible for people to get into it.
Right.
Like I would like if I finished it and I really liked it, I would probably go and watch the anime or read the manga.
I would say to kind of just stick with what we've been preaching on this whole thing. I wouldn't even bother. I would actually just go watch the manga.
Just go watch the anime.
Because we sat here for 5-10 minutes talking about how animes are animes or animations like How to Train a Dragon. There's no reason to make a remake.
But the thing is that they actually act like they're supposed to. They talk and they act.
So with that being said,
it's unnecessary for sure. In that aspect.
So that being said, though, there is a possibility for live action to portray an animation. By that logic, right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I'm just playing devil advocate here.
No, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely a contradiction. I don't have the bias. Like if I watched the anime first or read the manga first, and then I came back and I was like, it's not necessary, it would be a different story. But I think since I haven't done that before, it's that aspect of it comes from a different.
I still think that it still doesn't make it
justifiable.
Justifiable because your stance is so strong on something else. It should be the same in the vein of like you should probably just if you're at all entertaining the idea of watching it, you already know that it's 1,000 episodes. You can get to decide if you want to give your time up, which is your precious commodity, to this. And I do not like live adaptations of any animation because it's not necessary. If it's already been produced and made, it's already great.
Right.
I understand why they do it sometimes because sometimes it just doesn't hit right.
And it wasn't like done right or
and
something.
Done right,
like
and they remake it, whatever, and
to redo it to make it better,
to make it more accurate. That's fine, but I would say that like even for me, I'm not even into anime like you are of any kind. And when I saw the live action advertisement on Netflix for that, I was like, why? Like, it's already got an already established series. Like, there's no this to me. That's the remakes like that are like, oh yeah, Americans are dumb. Let's make a live action because they don't like cartoon stuff.
That's a good way to put it.
And I would prefer that's just my same stance on subtitles for Japanese anime. I'm going to watch it with Japanese actors speaking the thing, and I will read because I have literally watched like Ninja Scroll, Ghost in the Shell, old school ones, and you watch the Japanese versions where they're spoken in Japanese, and you're reading it. And then you go back and you watch the American version, and it's literally translated, dumbed down for us.
Yeah.
And there's important information or sophisticated stuff that they put into the anime to actually make it sound better.
There's a few good dubs I know of. One of them is Berserk's anime dub is actually really, really good. The guys and gals that they got to play those characters,
they got better over time because
that was set 97, brother. That was not at that time.
Really?
That was when it was still pretty bad, honestly. I mean, the thing is like even nowadays we still have bad dub castings for sure.
Yep.
I wouldn't even say at all that it's just the time period because it's just based on the series.
I've watched a couple of Korean horror films, and I watched them in original Korean language and just read subtitles. And like I said,
you watch Godzilla in Japanese?
Yes,
it's so much better.
And
it's so much better.
I'll be honest, it's crazy because I watched a couple of these zombie films, and I love Korean zombie films.
Was it Home?
I can't remember what the name was called.
There's a couple of shows I know of on Netflix.
It wasn't a show.
Okay,
this was a movie where it's really I can't remember the name of it. I'll get back to you on it. But it was about this guy that was kind of a loser living at home with his parents, and then a zombie apocalypse happens and he's stuck in his house. He's trying to figure it out. And I watched it in the original language with subtitles, and then I went on YouTube to just see what people thought about it, and went down a completely different rabbit hole of watching different scenes of it being in English, and I'm like, oh, that's terrible.
I mean, dude, there's so many things with like, especially like Japanese game dubs, right? You go back and you watch like the Japanese, and I think it's so interesting to me how like Japanese dubs feel so much more natural instead of it being like English being natural. You know what I mean? I think it's just like the otherworldly nature that Japan has with their content that makes it kind of feel.
It's the original way it was intended. That's why. Like I said, the best animes are
my favorite anime of all time is, other than Berserk, is Cowboy Bebop. Like, that's my number 2.
But what I'm getting at is the only way to watch.
And I don't think that the dub in that one was bad either.
I prefer it to be spoken in its native language, and I'll read it.
Nothing wrong with that. No,
because I just think that there's a lot of translation lost and meaning lost behind our interpretation of a word and their interpretation of a word. Whereas when they just write it down, it seems like and you're actually getting what you're supposed to. Some subtitles they do dub it down again.
Yeah,
but when they're authentic, it's a far better experience.
For sure. Yeah. No, you're totally right. I'm honestly not interested in watching both of the shows. I just kind of put it on because I had food and I was hungry, and I was like, let's watch something while I eat, as I do, and it's fine. And I just kind of watched it, and I was like, this isn't terrible. Looks like the anime from what I've seen, which is a little weird because it's like realistic and shit.
I would prefer, like, if you're going to get into it,
I would probably just watch the anime.
I'd give the anime a shot.
I'd probably just watch the anime or read the manga.
And besides, the mangas and the animes, when they do their bombastic moves, like stretching their hands out,
it's more real. It's more believable.
Just because it's all drawn. There's no CG.
Stretch and squash.
It just looks like it fits.
It's a fair point. Okay, so I have a movie that I've been rewatching over my time as a young adult, and that's Disney's movie Soul. Now, it's the same director that did Incredibles 1, 2, and a few other movies from Pixar. And I don't know if you've seen it.
Nope.
It's a really good movie. It really tackles, to go into it a little bit here, so like it really tackles the idea of like what is our purpose on Earth. And it talks about, like, the main character, Joe, his number one thing is he loves music. He loves to play jazz. And that's, like, his passion. That's his purpose, he believes. And he basically just dies when he gets, like, the gig of a lifetime. And he's, like, so excited about it. And he goes to, like, what's known as, like, the afterlife, which is just, like, the beyond. And goes through this whole thing where he meets this soul that hasn't been born yet that hates the idea of life, hates the idea of everything being born and having all of these things that just ruin your life and fuck you up, and she just doesn't want to do it. And it goes through to where she goes into his body and he becomes a cat, and he's trying to get her to get all these things ready so that he can play that show. And he plays the show. This is the basic synopsis of the whole movie, because once you watch it, it's completely different in terms of like how it's played out. But once he plays the show, he finishes the show, and it was a great time. He had so much fun doing it. He felt like that was his peak. And once he's done, he feels like there's nothing, and there's like nothing for him. And he questions like, what is my purpose? And it tackles the idea of there is no purpose to life. You don't have one singular thing. You're just supposed to live your life. Just have the experience. And it's one of the ending to that movie has always not brought me to tears, but just brought me to like melancholy, where it's just like it's happy sad. Like, you're not depressed, you're not upset, but you're just kind of like, I'm okay. It's okay being a part of life. And it's just a beautiful movie. I think everybody really did not give that movie enough credit for what it was, in terms of just like the ideas that it tackled.
I think a lot of people in our world spend a lot less time living and just doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's
what he does.
Well, and I think the issue is that people don't appreciate the small things. Everything's important.
Literally, like there's a scene where the soul girl is in his body and she has a piece of pizza and tastes it all around, because they're in New York and it's fucking delicious in New York.
Yep.
And then she sees a petal that floats down from the tree and lands on her palm. She has a sucker that she had an experience at with the barber. She has all of these things that are collected, half-eaten bagel, all of these things. And the scene that's really impactful is when Joe is at his home after the gig. He plays the piano and channels this beautiful piece of that soul's experience on life. And it's for him trying to reach her. And it was so beautiful. It was so well done. Recommend that movie. Definitely 10 out of 10 in my book.
Nerd.
Okay. That's the end of the not the Techno Underground, the Back Alley Theater. So we're going to go ahead and move over towards the Stork Club here. So we got a few topics here for today. First one is going to be, holy crap, Bill has finished the album Panic from Caravan Palace.
Yep. Better than the first one.
Oh, yeah?
I liked it a lot. I was actually out doing some yardly chores, and I said, I'm going to stick with the band and continue. So I went to their second album, and, it was definitely a different...
I said I was interested to see what you would say about Panic.
Yeah, it was a different experience, but it was still good. The electronic parts didn't bother me nearly as much.
Interesting.
I thought it was going to be like, take me out of it. It didn't take me out of it.
Was it fun to just kind of... Did it do the same thing?
The problem is that when I listen to an album for the first time, I'm not critically trying to listen to, this is my favorite song, or this is my favorite song. I want to listen to the whole album and how I felt. And I was actually motivated when I was doing all my chores. I was like, just kind of rocking out and enjoying myself. I couldn't tell you what my favorite song was because I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't going for a critical analysis of the album of like, this is my top track or this is my favorite part of the song. I was like, nope, this is a first time experience. I'm just going to flow with it and just.
Well, I think Panic has some bangers on it for sure. Like if I remember correctly here, I'll pull it up. Oh my gosh, a burpee. Let's see here. Panic. Ooh, shit. Remixed album. Let's go, baby. Where is it at? Here it is. Yeah, so I mean, like, where is it at here? Panic's a great track for me. Beat Phone's a good track for me. Rock for Me is the one that I showed you for the first song. Maniac is really good, too. I mean, this album has a good chunk of fucking bangers in it for sure. I think their first album was definitely like just like them coming onto the scene kind of thing.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the first album, but like I said,
the next album is probably going to hit you a bit differently because most of their albums are very different from each other, but they still keep the same electro swing vibe to it. And this one's really
I don't want to hear it. Okay, I discovered it on my own.
Yeah,
but I did take the opportunity to listen to the second album, and I would give it at least a 4.5 stars.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I enjoyed myself.
I was a little skeptical because I didn't know how you would like it, if you would like it or not.
Music is so subjective. Every recommendation I can give on here, somebody can hate it with a passion and spit in my face over. But the point of music is to actually try and find something that's new. There was
a quote in Guardians 3 that I really like to think about in terms of just like it makes me feel good is like one of the guys says some of the best music in the galaxy comes from your planet, from Earth.
Yeah.
And it's something that when I think about it makes me kind of happy because it's like our race has done something that everybody can appreciate.
Well, we don't know that for true, but yeah, in a fantasy world, sure. But I mean, music is definitely a fourth dimension for bringing people together for sure. It's been like that way since the beginning of our grunting and chanting around a fire. Yep, to what we've come to know as music today. And like I said, whenever I listen to a new album, if I'm doing on this podcast, if I'm doing a review, I try to study the tracks that I really, really like. And if I recommend the album to people, when I'm doing a first listen, I just put it on and I want to see how I felt.
So you're going to go back and finish all of the other albums and then come back and try to find some stuff that like you're like, this
I mean, I might, get it on the Instagram page. Post it on the Instagram. Take a picture of the album cover and highlight my 3 favorite tracks and see what people think.
That'll be a fucking awesome time when we go to see that show with you and like everybody because they put on a fantastic show. They're so much fun.
So far, I've been happy with the 2 albums I've listened to so far.
That's good. I'm happy. Okay, so then you also have Behemoth's new single, "The Return of Darkness and Evil" from 2026.
So Behemoth is a interesting one for me because I love satanic black metal. And I love Behemoth. I don't want to take anything away from him. But it was a live track and it was cool. But they're kind of sounding like they're all the same now. Like one of my favorite albums is The Satanist. It's one of the fucking best albums I've ever heard. And their last album was good, but this sounds a lot like more Behemoth rather than something different. So it didn't hit me as impactful. I was excited for it when I saw it. It was available to listen to. And I kind of listened to it like 2 or 3 times and I was like, yeah, it's good. But it wasn't like, oh yeah, we're going there, Whereas when I put The Satanist on, I was like looking for a drink. I was like, what is this? It was brutal. Brutal. But
I don't think I know Behemoth that well, so
I love them. But that single was, in my opinion, out of all the discography that I've gone down to listen to, I think that it was average for their standards. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was just there.
And to say this too, like that doesn't mean that it's terrible or it's bad. I feel like there's a lot of stigma behind, it's just average. It's okay to have average things and just be what it is. It shouldn't not everything needs to be explosive, blow your mind, absolutely like crazy. Sometimes you just need average, just I want to listen to some music. You know what I mean? And it's tough for a lot of people, especially in this day, that I feel like they can't really like accept average.
Well, when I say average, I mean that in the general it was just nothing exciting. It was just more of them. And that's not always necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of their albums are different. Still black metal, still fast, still hard, but it's just the way they kind of aim at it. Because my second favorite album of theirs is I Loved You at Your Darkest, and I just love that album. The Satanist is better, but that album was really freaking good. It's actually got one of my favorite songs on it. It's called Barzabal, one of my favorite songs. It's a killer track. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't tell you not to listen to it, but it wouldn't be like if I'm going to go back and listen to Behemoth, and I do it regularly, it wouldn't be something I would like just throw back on unless it was in my playlist that, my phone just popped it in there for me.
Okay.
So
Goliath 4, Silencing the Prophets of Deceit.
Another great black metal album, and I've listened to it.
Been on a black metal kick for a minute here.
I listened to this album once, and I was like, this is interesting. And then I happened to be finishing up the Caravan Palace album, and I was like, something? I need a little steak with my entree that I just had. And I went back and I was like, I'm going to give this album another shot. And I think my favorite track on that is The Swarm, which is so funny because Avatar's The Swarm and Beneath the Scum. 2 fucking killer tracks. Like I was in my car just banging out, like just head banging, and I was like,
that's how I feel when I put on a Death Clock half the time.
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the cooler ones. That album was just all around. That album is really, really good. But those 2 songs stood out to me, and why is because I was literally listening to it because I've listened to it. It wasn't my first listen; it was like my 3rd or 4th listen. But I hadn't listened to it in a while, and I said, for the podcast, I want to give people different albums, and I was like, I want to go back and revisit this again. So when I started picking up on familiar tracks I heard, I was in my car and that song came on. I was like, oh, I need to know what the name of the song is right away, and so I could bring it onto the podcast.
Yeah,
and
I've
talk
had
about
that happen when I've like listened to a lot of new bands and artists and stuff. I'll try to look and I'll be like, oh my god, what is this song? Oh, click, like it and shit like that. I do the same. thing.
It's good because sometimes there are some artists that will hit you with a recognizable track that just hits you at the right time, and you're like, oh, I need to know what this one is because this is going on my playlist, or this
right,
is
right.
And even though like I said, I listened to the album 2 or 3 times, you could be distracted or doing something else and just have it in the background, like you said before. And so this time when I was in my car, I was really giving it a listen to, and like I said, because I listened to it 2 or 3 times prior, I was familiar with how the album started. But then I was keen on listening to certain things, and there were certain guitar riffs and drums patterns that I was like, oh, okay, And so, like I said,
yeah, I mean, I do that same thing with like a lot of bands. Like every time you show me something new, that's kind of like the thing that bites out to me is like a drum part or a guitar part, or like it's always interesting because in my brain I'll get like segments of songs that are the ones that are like that's what lifts me up, get this like spirit rising feeling. I think of like
it's basically the excitement of like your ears are hearing something that you're like, yeah, this is awesome.
That was me with like the shadowing during that whole month period, and it just I felt elevated.
We went down to a rabbit hole with that. When I was into those guys, and I still am, but when I was into them, and I was sharing that orbit culture with everybody. I remember you'd be like texting me, "This is my favorite. I love this track too." This track, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's down."
Well, I did that with Ghost. It was really struggling with Ghost for the first few albums. I think it was like the third album that really clicked with me the most. I think so. Yeah. I
love all of their albums. I'm a huge Ghost fan. I've been a fan since 2010.
I like Ghost. I'm just not as big of a fan as you are.
Oh, I don't think a lot of people are. I just I went and saw them recently last year, and they were awesome. Or this year.
Oh, they put on good shows.
And but it was kind of cool when I said, "Hey, man, just listen to the whole discography. I think it's a good way to get into a band." And you were literally working, and you're like, "I'm on this album." I'm like, "Holy shit, dude, Jesus!"
Well, I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Man. It's not 11 hours worth of content.
Yeah.
I think I got halfway through the day and I was done. But I mean, like, I remember, like, I remember going through each of the albums, and I was really not trying to, like, skip a song if I wasn't interested in it, and trying to just, like, let it be while I'm doing whatever. And, like I said, it wasn't until the third album where I was, like, just jamming out, working and enjoying it throughout the whole time, and then ever since then, from the rest on, every other album was just like, yeah, this is banger, this is banger, this is banger. And I feel like with like Orbit Culture, I have to go backwards, because
I did too.
Their first few albums aren't terrible, but they're not as good. Like for me, it's like Ninja.
They've gotten better over time, just like Ghost did, actually.
Is like my album, and
I like The Descent.
Yeah, I know you like this. It's so funny because
good.
Everybody around me will get mad at me when I'm like, "Tales of War" is my favorite song off of Death Above Life, and they're always like, "Dude, that Death Above Life was like the best song," and I'm like, "It's just not my."
Oh, hold on. I say that. Nobody else.
No. Zach says it. Nick says it. They all say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those guys don't count.
Zach's favorite song is Hydra. Nick's favorite song is Bloodhound, and then your favorite song is Death Above Life, and then there's me. Yeah. I like Tales of War. Yep. Which is so funny because, well, it's fitful for Nick because he likes Slaughter to Prevail, and they're a lot heavier. Because like my favorite song from Slaughter to Prevail, which is his favorite song, but he likes all of their other stuff, is Bailet, which is a Berserk adaptation from them. And I listen to a lot of their other music, and like I have to be in the mood for it,
Yeah. They're a little on the intense side.
My sister loves Viking. My sister's husband likes Viking too much, so I feel like I have like a brain tumor in my head that makes me not want to listen to it. But I mean, like, yeah, I lean a lot differently towards different tracks than you guys definitely do for sure. But I mean, at the same time, I'll play, other tracks and Nick will put it on his music playlist because, he fucking loves it and shit. And I tried to show him Ninja Nisu too. I don't think he liked it.
Oh, whatever.
He can suck it. I'll go see him.
Yeah, I will go see him. I did get a chance to watch Jason Newsted. If you don't know who he is, he was a bassist for Metallica for a little while. And he's been in multiple projects, and I like him as a person. I think he's cool. But I watched a video his single for "As the Crow Flies," and holy crap, did that video? It just screamed low budget '90s rock, And I was just like, I got through it. It was rough. It was like eating a dried out, cracker. It was like I was like, it was so bad.
An old saltine cracker.
Oh, it was so bad. I was like, I was wanting some Megadeth. And you know how I feel about that. I was like, but I listened to a couple other tracks and they're okay. But what I hated about "As the Crow Flies" is the lyrics were fucking terrible.
Oh man,
they were, and I know that if you're a fan of Jason Newsted, you're probably going to try and kill me. But I don't give.
It's just the nature of the beast.
I don't give a shit. Have him write something better. I can't help myself.
Go back in the studio, Jason.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I know the guy's talented. Don't get me wrong, but that did not prove it well for me. But yeah, that's what I was listening to, man. I sorry about that.
That's funny.
I had to end that one on a bad note.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on like a completely like different path than you have been, and it's probably just because I'm going through shit in my life right now, so I'm trying to I don't know, do something or whatever. But I've been listening to one of my favorite electronic artists. His name is Grant. I really, 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 please, Grant, come do a tour like across the United States because I would go and see him. But I've been getting back into it, and I find myself going back to a lot of music that I used to listen to when I was a teenager when I'm like sad, which typically goes between some electronic music or Big Wreck or whatever.
And when he says go back to as when he was a teenager, he's referencing like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So let's be
motherfucker,
real.
6 years ago I was 20. Yeah. That's not a teenager.
Close enough.
Well, actually, I was 19 because I'm 25. But
yeah. So what is 19? What's at the end of that? 19. Suck it, Trebek. Anyways, continue with your.
I just like. I lean with my electronic music. I lean towards more fun or melancholic stuff. I don't like. I like dubstep. Don't get me wrong. I grew up with dubstep, and there was a time and place for it for sure.
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots.
Yeah, no,
and
go
cats.
wub 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 wub. Yeah. But especially right now, like my top track has been the same top track from him for the longest time because Wishes came out. I want to say back in like 2017 or something like that. It's a pretty old track, but there's like something about it that just gives me. I can't like describe it. It's just like a feeling, which I feel like a lot of music does, right?
Mm-hmm. That's all it does.
It puts me in a state of just pure feeling instead of it being like a lot brain, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of times where in certain times in my life where I'll put on a track, like a specific song that fits like the moment, like it's a movie scene or whatever, right?
Well, music is the soundtrack of our lives.
Right.
It really is. I mean, I'm not trying to interrupt what you're saying, but a lot of people would feel the same way about that's why music is so powerful. And you're just having when you like you're describing this moment with this song, it is a part of your soundtrack of your life. And that's what music is. I mean, we were just talking about this, and I know I hijacked this moment, but I want to say this to you.
No, it's fine.
I know you're going through some shit in your life right now, and you showed me his song, and I told you that I wasn't really into it, but I thought it was still good quality music. And I told you that. I said, I'm not in that moment in my life. That's why music is so important. It's literally the soundtrack of what you're going through. It'll speak to you. Like, we can have a million conversations on this podcast, and one song can do what we do in 30 years of talking in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's why I love music so much. And that's why it's important that you talk about this, because it is important for you to get through this kind of shit with songs like this.
Yeah. I mean, I just hate the I feel like I keep saying stigma a lot. I don't know if that's really the right word to use. Like the idea of like somebody else would view it. And I know I shouldn't listen to other people, but it's just a perceiving, right? People will perceive it as like, oh wow, he's listening to this song while he's sad. That's
everything in life is our own interpretation, right? And the double-edged sword about life and music, and like when we share cigars and we drink whiskey together and we're watching movies together, we all want anybody that we care about to enjoy it the same way we do, but we can't unload those expectations onto that person. You hope that they enjoy it, right? Like, I wasn't unhappy with that song. It was a really well done song. I'm just not in that spot in my head, right? And that doesn't mean it's a bad song. And that's the great thing, is that I've done it to you a million times. I'll show you an album I'm totally into, and you're like, pretty good. I'm like, my mind's over here being blown, and you're like, but you're not in that zone. So, but anyways, I'm glad that you showed it to me, because I'd never heard something like that before. It reminded me a lot of like kind of the way the Gorillaz write some of their melancholy music that they do.
Like Melancholy Hill?
Well, just the way they write their music is very similar to that. It's not like it's a copy. It's got this. To me, it had the moment you put it on and I was listening to it. That's the first artist I thought about. Not like
this is like them. This is just,
he didn't copy them at all, but it was that same sound wavelength.
I try to view music like windows, right? Like you're peering through some, like when you show me something, I try to view it in the aspect of like I'm looking through what's going on in your brain, because like what what is that too much or something?
That's intense. Nobody goes to my brain.
I mean, it's just like this song for me is like a very open door, in terms of just like you can understand why I would listen to something like it, right? Like the specific song "Wishes" is a song that Grant wrote when he was in college and he was trying to understand whether or not pursuing music was like a good choice in his career.
There's a crossroad,
Yeah, and
he's making a decision. He loves music, and he's like, "Do I want to keep doing this?"
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily that is the part that speaks to me, because like that's just one part of it, right? Like I mentioned before, it just gives me feels, right? And the feeling that it gives me is a part of melancholy. And I have I have a whole playlist. It's called Fill My Soul, which has a bunch of different songs from a bunch of different artists on it that play all along the same kind of type beats. That's like a lot of not necessarily just melancholic, but like that kind of same thing where it takes me through an adventurous kind of feel of like, okay, so like I showed you Stop Motion, that's another melancholic thing for me, right? And then I go to like Wishes, and then that's a melancholic thing for me. And then I'll go to another song that's like a love song, and it brings me back up, right? And it's like this whole up and down mountain hill that I go through in terms of like feels with music. And I have it happen a lot with like video game music too.
It's weird because you say melancholy like it's a happy thing, but it actually defined as sadness or depression of the soul.
I've always viewed it as sadness, happiness. Like sad, happy.
Melancholy to me was I read the definition, but melancholy was like always like that. You're depressed, but you're not. You don't want to hate yourself. It's like being sad but hopeful. Like somebody passes away, right? And you're sad that they're gone, but you're not crying. You're not angry. You're just kind of. You're feeling the sadness, but you're not really doing anything. It's kind of like you're.
It's not taking the wrong turn.
Yeah, you're just kind of feeling. That it's almost like numbness, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to me, I guess, is what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like I'm very passionate about Grant's music because he does a lot of different things, but like that song in particular, Wishes.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say melancholy. I would think that. I would say that if you're in a sad state, or you're in a depressed state, and his music lifts you at any kind of way, like helps bring out some of the emotion that you need to get out of your body from dealing with stresses, I think that's actually not melancholy. That's actually hopeful happiness. Because I didn't think that his song sounded sad at all to me. I thought it was actually very. Upbeat and driving. It wasn't like a techno driving. It was like, you went through something and now you're out of it. Now you're doing something else.
Other than that, I also went through all of the Glitch Mob. Fucking love them.
You've been hitting them hard, dude.
I mean, dude, the album, I think I mentioned it before. I was like, oh yeah, Control Alt Reality isn't my thing. I re-listened to it again. Holy fuck! Is it just
Don't
a good
album? Don't you love that though? Don't you love that when you listen to an album and you're like, and then
you come
back after you've listened to all these other things and you're like, that's what they were saying, or that's what they were sounding like.
It's just like every track has everything I like in it, where it's like that type of dance music, but they play around with like these arpeggios and these interesting soundscapes that make my brain so happy. Right. And I don't have every song liked, because that's normal. You're not gonna like every song, but I have like a good chunk of that album saved on my playlist.
I feel like a good album a good album and a good artist, they write certain songs that will steal your love for another song away from it. Yeah. You know, like that's still a good song, but it's like, dude, but they made this song a 10 and they turned it up to a 20, and then this song was supposed to be a 10, but he kind of took it away.
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot of remixes with their older albums, which I'm 50-50 on. The one I did like was the one before Control Alt Reality, where they combined songs together and remixed it in a way that it was completely like a different feeling and a different song, but it's still the same song. But once I got back to Control Alt Reality and I listened to it all again, I was just like fucking on the bus, just like, oh, this is sick. I'm enjoying the shit, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my top artists right now. The Glitch Mob is fucking rad.
I do love that when you discover an album you didn't think you'd like and you're finally in that right frame of mind, and it's like you're discovering them all over again. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, here we go.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. I also went back and listened to 2 albums from the Frost Shocks. Their discography is pretty fucking good.
Really?
I think they're very interesting in terms of like, they're not Orbit Culture. Let's just be real here.
They're still good though.
No, they're fucking awesome. I loved a lot of their tracks, and they have a definitely like not like Orbit Culture gives me like a lot of anger to a different emotion. Like they always start off with like some fucking metal, like I'm angry, and then it goes somewhere else. That either being to hopefulness or to happiness or to, you know, just like, oh, it's death, you know, just.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are songs like The Shadowing that has actual melancholy in it.
That's hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's actually, if you listen to the lyrics,
it's very melancholy.
Yeah, it's about dealing with some pretty dark stuff, you know. But oh, dude, I love that transition scene in that song where it's like the slow part, and then it just kicks into that epic. Oh, dude, it's so good, so good. Yeah, so good.
It is like the best part of that song is when you're going from all of this hate, this anger, this frustration to I'm gonna move on from it. You know, that's what that song gets. That's probably why I liked it so much.
Yeah, but Orbit Culture's so good at doing that. And then right before they end the song, they give you 2 minutes of like a fastest drum,
like some of the coolest
metal,
parts.
and it's just like super heavy. And you're like, I was feeling hopeful. Now I want to kill something again. This is crazy.
It's true. It's true. No, but I mean, like I went through. You showed me. I think it was The Swarm from Frost Shock. And
really? Is that what that song's called?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
And that song was fucking rad because the guitar riff for it was really good.
Yep.
And I went and listened to that whole album, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was super fun, super energetic.
Yeah, the new album's really good.
And then I went back and I listened to their last 2 albums. I didn't finish the 3rd album, I think it is, because I think they have 5. I can't remember. You know, I just went back and listened to like all of their other music, and they're just really, really good, really fun, really energetic, really enjoyable to listen to. And I think right now I'd recommend them, but I've got a different recommendation.
Are the other albums? Because I've only listened to the newest one. Are they all pretty heavy?
Yeah, they're about the same.
About the same.
Yeah,
okay,
I'd say they're about the same. I think the one before the recent album is pretty dark stuff in terms of like what they're talking about, but I have to go back and read the lyrics. Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, I want to go back. I want to actually go through and discover more Frost Shock stuff because I really enjoyed their newest album.
They're really good. Yeah, they're really enjoyable. Okay, well, let's go ahead and close out this episode of the 8th episode of the Speakeasy Podcast.
Yep.
So I'll go ahead and go with mine. So for video game suggestions, I want to talk about a game that we've played a couple of times that we enjoy. It's called Jump Space. It is a 4-player co-op. Which is also yours, I just realized.
Yep.
Which I was just like, oh yeah, that's a good one. Jump Space is a 4-player co-op game where you and your buddies get together and do these little missions that are roguelike, where you go around and do different objectives where you got to land on an asteroid and go in through the building, use first-person weaponry and like blow up robots and shit, and then it transitions over to you jumping in the spaceship and you guys are all like repairing the ship together, or like people are manning turrets, or one person's flying the ship.
Fun.
You know,
it's really fun.
It's a really fun game. I was really excited for it when it was announced, and I was like, dude, this is gonna be so much fun. And it's good to see that it's getting a few more updates coming out here pretty soon. I'm really excited for it. In terms of movies, like I mentioned before, I think 65 is a good film. I think everybody should go and watch it, give it a chance. Don't just immediately listen to what other people say. I think it's an enjoyable film to watch. Whether it being like a crazy 10 out of 10 doesn't matter. It's still a good movie. And then for my music suggestions, I have Wishes by Grant, which is an EP by him. Mentioned it before, but it's a song that's really hitting me in a good spot right now, and I'm really enjoying it again. And I've been listening to it pretty much almost every day, and just having my time with it. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude. Well, my suggestions, I did originally pick Jump Space.
Oh, you're gonna pick it, everyone?
But I think because you suggested it, I will go ahead and say the remake for Resident Evil 3 is really good, and I suggest people play it. Movie suggestions, I have to do it. It's old school. I'm old. 1982's Evil Dead.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Such a good movie. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, fucking watch it. It's awesome. And my music suggestion is the album by the Righteous Brothers, 1964's Some Blue-Eyed Soul. Really good. 34 minutes long. Nothing crazy. Some good old soul music.
Awesome. All right. Well, pleasure talking with you, Bill.
Yeah, buddy.
It was good to see you guys coming back for the episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys.